Stand up, New York Giant fans. Back at it for another Talking Giants. But a little something to talk. Obviously, we got the Giants coming up in 2 weeks. Obviously, we got the last preseason game, but some pretty big news today, Baddog. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, how you doing? First things first, we got 255 people in here and 64 likes. Not getting it done. And Joe Schoen Train, welcome back to the Dog Pound, baby. Appreciate it. Yeah, Chris, I was at work. Phone starts dinging, ding, ding. I see Instagram.
You were actually how I found out about it. I was at work and I checked my phone. And you're like, we got something to talk about. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I
got all those. So that's why I love that, our chat, because if I'm working and I don't see it, I don't have a chance to go on. It's just boom, boom, boom. I mean, it's Isaiah Simmons, baby. I mean, I was ready to give up the fifth overall pick in the draft for him 3 years ago. And here is our genius GM. Giants fans, how pumped are you seriously that we have a competent GM, that we have a great front office? This man goes out and fleeces the Cardinals, a 7th-round pick, Chris, for a guy with all-world talent. He's only just turned 25 last month, ran a 4.39 at the combine. He's one of the most physically gifted linebackers you're going to see. And a wink system, well, geez, he can use him all over the place. He can use him as a safety. You can use him as a money backer. Wink loves to blitz the linebackers. Isaiah Simmons, man, it could be a good thing for him. He could be home, baby. He could be home.
Oh.
I'm pumped. I always wanted this guy, and now we got him.
Yeah, let's say hello to a couple of people, and then we're going to talk about it. What's up, TA5? I got the hiccup. Sorry about that. What's going on, Michael? What's going on there, Andrew? Christopher, what's going on, Samuel? But yeah, you hit it on the head. If you would have told me on draft day, because we were kind of going back and forth going into the draft, you wanted Simmons, I wanted the tackle. We ended up getting the tackle, but now Giants fans are in harmony. We end up getting the player that probably half the fan base wanted, along with Andrew Thomas, which is insane. And yeah, I think he fits the scheme, and I think Joe Schoen took advantage of a situation. He saw that the Arizona Cardinals are a team that's kind of in rebuild. They're in knockdown mode, similar to the way that the New York Giants were last year when Joe Schoen took over, a complete overhaul, much like when Gettleman first took over, and they're just getting rid of the scraps. New general manager, new head coach. They don't feel that, obviously, Simmons fits the scheme long-term. It's why they didn't pick him up on the fifth-year option. He hasn't lived up to that draft pick, and Joe Schoen says, okay, I see a guy that's still only 25. I see a guy that we could bring here that fits this scheme really well, at least from an athletic standpoint. And if you're a Giants fan, look what they did last year. Daniel Jones was in the same exact situation last year. They didn't pick up the fifth-year option. Not to compare Simmons to Daniel Jones. It's apples and oranges. But they didn't pick up the fifth-year option. And what happened? They got the most out of him. Now he's here. So you have to – and Dexter Lawrence became a different player last year. He was always good. He wasn't that good. Andrew Thomas, same thing. Like, we saw so many players take a big step up. So I think this is Joe Schoen identifying a player that was in a situation where the team wasn't getting the most out of him, and in a situation where the team is kind of flipping everything. And he said, okay, I can pick this guy up for pennies on the dollar. Let me give up a 7th-round pick, because if I don't give up anything, he's never going to get to me in terms of the claim order. Give up my 7th-round pick. And suddenly, the Giants go from a linebacking core last year that was headed by Tate Crowder and Jalen Smith to Bobby Okereke and Isaiah Simmons. And now, not only does it significantly improve the starters, it significantly improves the depth. Now you got McFadden and Beavers as depth. So it's just a good move. And he's a guy, like you said, that could play multiple positions, do different things. I'm really excited and interested to see what the overall plan is for him. Like, how does Wink plan to use him in this defense? It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, no question about it. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Like, a linebacker was a massive weakness for us last year. And, Simmons has, I think in the last 2 years, he has like 16 passes defense. So obviously he can play. I mean, he's kind of a hybrid safety. Like I said, maybe he is that money backer. Like, I always felt like Landon Collins should have kind of been a money backer because his coverage skills weren't great as a safety, but he was incredibly athletic. And the closer he got to the line of scrimmage, the better he was. And Wink loves to blitz those linebackers, which is why I'm thinking, like, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, yeah, we're going to have, he's got 15 sacks and all this stuff.
Oh, come on.
But he could definitely have 6 sacks,
Yeah.
7 sacks, and play good coverage and be a beast in the run game and open it up for other people. It's just, I mean, what Joe Schoen has done this offseason has been nothing short of marvelous. Look at the picks, Chris. Every one of these rookies, except for maybe Eric Gray, because we really haven't had a good look at him yet, but they're all balling out.
Yeah.
Jordan Riley, the 7th-round pick, is killing it. Trey Hawkins, the 6th-round pick, is killing it. Banks had one of the highest grades. They were giving out letter grades. He got like an A-. I forgot where it was. It was on Instagram. I don't remember which.
Banks has been great. Nobody's talking about it. I mean, people are talking about him. They're not talking about him enough. Banks has been great in the first 2 preseason games. And I don't want to read too much into preseason. I don't want to read too much into the training camp. But what I will say is, and hopefully it translates on the field in the regular season and long term, I don't recall, since at least I've been talking about this team on YouTube, where a rookie class has generated this much buzz. I mean, my God, JMS, great press. Obviously, Hawkins. You talked about Banks, Riley, my God, the way that he looked, and he was going up against first teamers. So I don't want to hear that he was playing the third team offense because he wasn't. Hyatt. So this entire rookie class is generating so much buzz, and obviously we had high expectations for the rookie class after the draft, when not just us as Giants fans, but pretty much the consensus around the league was that the Giants knocked the draft out of the park. It's exciting times right now to be a New York Giants fan, and I think we're going to turn some heads this year, man. I really do. I think this is going to be a fun and a very good football team. Not just good. I think we're going to be very good. We're not going to be an easy out for anybody.
The other thing is, he locks up a lot of our players. They lock up Daniel Jones. They lock up Andrew Thomas. They lock up Dexter Lawrence. Next year, they're going to lock up my guy X-Man. I know that's coming. But they got these deals done, and they got Barkley into camp without him missing any time. So whatever they had to do to maneuver it. The thing that I said in the video today, which obviously I was very excited about, Isaiah Simmons, but I'm talking about how players want to play for Coach Dable. Now, I don't know what's going on with Pugh. We've heard Justin Pugh's name a number of times, says he wants to play for Dable. We've heard Gronk. We're not getting Gronk. I mentioned there, if I was an Eagles content creator, I'd be talking about how the Giants are going to sign Gronk.
We're not getting Gronk. That's stupid.
That's what they do. We're not getting Gronk, but my point is, and we don't need Gronk. My point is, players respect Brian Dable. They love what he's doing, and they see what the Giants are doing. They're transcending upwards. Like they're on an incline. People want to get aboard this Shane train. They want to ride this thing because they know the direction that this is coming. For many years, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. Well, the Giants are out of that tunnel. They're in the bright light, man.
Yeah.
They're setting sail, baby.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people say that Simmons said that he wasn't happy in Arizona. So people are scared, and I think he said that he didn't want to play linebacker, and reports are that the Giants are interested in playing him at the linebacker, which is where I hope he plays. I want him to be used in a variety of different ways, but I'd prefer him to play at the linebacker spot if I had to pick one position. But I think the difference is the culture that we're building here. Think about Adoree Jackson, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Adoree Jackson is by far the most accomplished cornerback on this football team. Like, not even close. He's got he's got a long laundry list of accomplishments since he's been in the NFL. And he's got rookies playing next to him. Okay? He has every right in the world to be pissed off that the fact that Trey Hawkins right now and Deonte Banks, two guys that have never taken a snap in the NFL, are getting a lot of reps on the outside, and the Giants are forcing him to play in the slot. Haven't heard a peep in a contract year, by the way, for Adoree Jackson. Okay, when he's trying to get as much worth as he possibly can. Haven't heard a peep. He says, I'll play wherever you want me to play. You know why? Because the Giants are building a culture. They're building a place where players want to come and play. So if you ask me, am I worried if Isaiah Simmons is going to be happy or not? No. Because I think he's going to be happy because he's coming to a much better situation. He's also coming to a place where he knows that he's in a contract year, and he knows he's got a defensive coordinator in Wink Martindale that has a proven track record that could get the most out of his players, and that's going to be able to get the most out of him, that's going to increase his value on the open market. So no, I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to work out just fine in terms of the way that they're going to want to use him and the way that he's going to be willing to be used.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to build a culture of likes in here. We got 700 people in here. We got 200 likes. That's like 28%. Okay, that's not good enough. We need more. We need to get up there for Shane, for Dable, for Brandon Brown, all these guys. We need to get the thumbs up there for the Giants because, like you said, and I mentioned it again. When you want to play, when you're in a place that you like, you're going to do better. Isaiah Simmons, contract year, knows that he could have a gigantic year, no pun intended. He could have a giant season here with Wink Martindale. And the great thing is, Chris, if he balls out and the Giants want to bring him back to Ken, the Giants have so many guys on this team that are here for 1 year. And they can make the decision after the year. Do we want to keep this guy? Well, let him go and go in another direction. So they have a lot of cap flexibility next year. Getting these guys locked up like Dexter Lawrence, like Daniel Jones, like Andrew Thomas gives them, they can maneuver the money around with the cap. They don't have to worry about 3 of their best players going into next year. They have them locked up. They got to worry about Xavier McKinney, probably Saquon Barkley. They're probably going to have to do something with him as well. But, I mean, I don't know. It's so night and day. Last year we came into the year, we were happy that we cleaned house.
Yeah.
And we really didn't know, what to expect. We really didn't know. And this year, just the way he has mastered everything has been it's been so much fun to watch. And again, these guys, the fact that they want to do it, they want to translate, it's going to translate in the field. This.
Yep.
I'm just pumped up because, I was doing the Isaiah Simmons video, but I also talked about Daniel Jones. This is the best players Daniel Jones has had around him since he's been in the league.
The best players Barkley's had around him, Jones has had around him.
And stability now. Some stability.
As the overall offense improves, all the other players on the offense are going to improve. It makes it easier for everybody else. It makes it easier for the line when you're less predictable, when you have deep threats like Hyatt, when you have a chess piece like Waller. It's going to improve the line too. It's going to improve Jones. It's going to improve Barkley. There's reasons for optimism, and we've seen offenses take big jumps with one piece. The Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen took a huge jump because he kind of filled out that offense. You had a player like Waller. Don't be surprised if this offense is very good this year. I'm not going to say elite, but very good this year.
Yeah, I mean, no question about it. We get to a few of these super chats, guys. Thank you so much for all these. Appreciate it. And Big Moo. I was gonna say Big Moo's not. I haven't seen Big Moo, but can't do the grandma's theme anymore. Big Daddy, thank you for the super chat. He says Shane ain't done.
No, he ain't. I think we're gonna make a couple more under the radar waiver wire type pickups right at the cut down day at 53. You already know because Shane literally wakes up. He sets his alarm at 5 a.m. and he looks at the waiver wire. That's what he does. He's always scanning the waivers. So I already know he's got a plan in place. I already know he's looked around the league. He's identified teams that are deep at certain positions, and he knows player X, good chance he's going to be cut. We're going to put a claim in for him. I already know the Giants are going to make a couple of key acquisitions once we get down to the final 53. I already know it.
Oh, no, without question. And like I said, you trust in him. The guy knows what the hell he's doing. It's amazing to see this transition from what was like where the Yankees are right now. They're a last century analytical and GM front office organization. Well, what translates from 1999 and 2002 ain't translating to 2023. We finally got guys that understand the cap. We got good scouts. We have a genius of a GM, better than Howie Roseman. He's the best. He's the best in the league. And I'm telling you, man, just thinking about the Giants' future with him at the helm, it gives us Giants fans reason to be incredibly optimistic. And Dallas, we come over that ass on September 10th. I tell you that right now.
Dude, I can't wait. Sunday night, let's rock and roll, baby.
I'm so ready for that. We got 305 likes, too. I love seeing it. Keep banging that thumbs up and subscribe. Big Moo is here. And if you were in the 24-hour stream, thank you, by the way, guys, girls. We donated $1,100 to San Francisco, which is freaking awesome.
Incredible.
But Big Moo gave me the offer I can't refuse. No grandma song unless the Giants win 2 divisional games.
So you'll be getting that soon.
And I can play during basketball. So that was getting that soon. I said there's no way I can't do it. So in place of the Golden Girls, Alex, thank you for super chat. He says, I think it's safe to say we got the best GM head coach duo in the league. Feels good to say that.
I'd have to really look around the league to give you an honest answer there, but I could tell you this: we got a damn good one. It's kind of like with Daniel Jones. Like I don't know where he ranks, but I know we can win with him. We can win a Super Bowl with him, in my opinion. As we continue to build up this team, I feel the same way about our head coach and our general manager. We got a great pairing, and I think they're only going to continue to grow together. So I love where we're at as an organization.
I think it's great that they both came from Buffalo. I think that they knew what they wanted together. They come in together from Buffalo. And I did the Brandon Brown video where I reacted to his press conference. I'm just always amazed. That's why I try to always give him credit, because I feel like the assistant GM doesn't get enough credit. We all know where he came from. We all know he did such a good – listen, I hate to give Philadelphia any credit, but they're a good team. They're a great team on paper, and he's a big reason why. So to kind of snatch him away, he's going to be a GM very soon. I mean, you listen to him talk. He's incredibly intelligent. You listen to the work. You listen to the amount of things that go into how they, decide which players they want, the things that they look at, the way that they scout. Again, I never reacted to Dave Gettleman's press conferences, but I can tell you this. These guys do their due diligence up and down and left and right and upside down and right side up and whatever. They cover all channels. It is amazing to just listen to how intelligently, like he's an intelligent man anyway, but football intelligence is off the chart. It's just nice to have a smart front office.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Speaking of our rival, Johnny Letourneau. Thank you, buddy. He says, hello, fellas. Giants stink. They will be 2-4 in the first 6. 49ers, no quarterback. Thank Philadelphia. For some of y'all, rebuild, hate us all you want. Well, I'm always going to hate you. But if we beat the 49ers, we're not going 2-4.
I'm going to be honest. I think the Eagles are going 20-0. And I think if you ask me, Baddog, right now, Jalen Hurts' stat prediction for the year, I'm going to be conservative in this. I think Jalen Hurts has a 83% completion percentage. I think he runs for 1,732 yards. I think he throws for 6,000. And I think he has 58 touchdown passes and 32 rushing. I think he has 90 combined touchdowns. And I don't think the Eagles win a game by less than 30 points.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Eagle fans will tell you you're not giving Hurts enough credit.
Yeah, I know.
I think
I told you I was going to be conservative.
We love Johnny. He's a great Eagle fan. But I'm telling you right now, on Instagram, I had a couple one Cowboy fan. They're scared, man.
Yeah, they're scared.
There's a little fear. Giants didn't used to strike fear in anybody. They're striking a little fear in some teams now. They are. King John. Thank you, my man. He says, I was at work too, and I get a ding on my phone, and I said, oh, snap. That's what I did. I'm like, oh, we got Isaiah Simmons. Yeah. I'm like, I let people know I'm doing it, because they were all like, I know they want to, because, again, if you follow me for a long time, you know I was a big Isaiah Simmons fan out of Clemson. And just, again, a 7th rounder. Like, it's nothing, Like I said, and I always have to turn the knife on Eagle fans in my videos. I can't help it. It's embedded in me. Patty knows this. I just loved it. I love to twist the knife. I say they got all these video makers talking about, oh, Jonathan Taylor is going to be an Eagle. I'm like, every offseason, everybody's going to be. We don't talk about trade rumors here. We just make the trades and then talk about them. That's what we do over here. Yeah. That's the way we run here on the New York Football Giants.
Can't wait.
Corp, you're the man.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Corp. Thank you, Corp. CA. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the incredible generosity. Doing it big, quite frankly. The Giants, Joe Shade, the Shade trade, big, strong guy, strong mentally, Brandon Brown, doing wonderful things. He says, it is said that if you build it, they will come. Ownership built the front office led by Joe Shane. Then the front office built the coaching staff. And now the players and fans want to come soon. New York Giants will be a skyscraper. Nailed it.
I agree with him. I think there's nothing but the Giants might win 8 games this year. The schedule is incredibly challenging, but I am very confident by year's end, regardless. I think I'm going to feel next year, if we have a good offseason, which there's no reason to think we won't, we're going to be a Super Bowl contender. I really believe that. And it has a lot to do with the guys that are in charge. You see it all the time. Teams could build Super Bowl contenders within 2 or 3 years. So why shouldn't you feel that way as a Giants fan with how big of a jump they had last year? If they continue to show progress this year in terms of an improved offense, the younger players continuing to grow, like the Evan Neals, like the Kayvon Thibodeaux. I think we're headed there. I think we're headed to being a Super Bowl contender very soon. That's what I'll say.
Without a doubt. The Giants are definitely trending in that direction. And listen, we have a tough schedule, but we're going to find out how good we really are. And if you're a good team and you want to reach the Super Bowl, you want to be considered a serious contender, you have to beat Seattle. You have to beat San Francisco. You have to beat Dallas. You have to beat Philadelphia. You have to beat teams like Buffalo, like the ones that are on your schedule. You're not going to go 17-0, obviously.
The
But
Eagles
you have to be right. The Eagles will. But you have to be able to compete with those teams. You have to be able to take some of those games. You're not going to need them all, but you got to find ways to beat Dallas and Philadelphia. Again, that's the step that they need to take this year. They have to be better within the division.
Yeah.
And again, the draft picks and this Isaiah Simmons move, man, this is such a big move. I don't think people quite understand. Again, he plays in Arizona. People label him as a bust. I don't know what Arizona expected. I don't know what was expected of him. I don't watch Arizona Cardinal football. Who does, quite frankly? So, having him come on the big stage in a contract season with all that, there's a reason the guy was picked 8th overall. There was a reason some people thought he might go 1st overall. And now that, again, coaching means so much. We talk about Daniel Jones, and now you have a defensive coordinator that really, really, his game plan fits Isaiah Simmons perfectly. So when Wink sends the house, baby, you got Okereke, you got Beavers, you got Aziz, you got Kayvon, and now you add Isaiah Simmons. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. That Giants pass rush could be a lot of fun this season.
There's a reason. There's a reason they went out and traded for the guy. They wouldn't have went out of their way and traded for him if they didn't feel like they could get something out of him. So,
and even if they don't, it's a 7th round pick.
It's a no risk, high reward move. There's nothing to lose here with this move.
Incredible, Johnny. Thank you so much, man. He says, but having said that, the NFC East will dominate except for those loser Cowboys and their delusional fans. Baddog Allen, Eric Allen should be a Hall of Famer. Carl Banks, Tiki Barber. There's a lot of people that get Tom Coughlin. There's a lot of people that get stuck from the Hall of Fame. And unfortunately, Eric Allen's one of them. But I hope we do. I hope we whoop Dallas's ass. And I know, listen, Eagle fans, listen, LB, right away when I put that post on Instagram, my guy Lord Brunson said, "You're the first person I thought of bad dog is kick Dallas's ass." And the Eagle fans were on our side week 1. I can tell you that right now, man.
But you know why they're on our side? Because they think we suck.
They don't fear us. I mean,
they don't fear us. They fear the Cowboys more than they fear us. But that's okay.
That's
sleep.
Sleep. I understand. Listen, I hope we kick Dallas's ass too. I don't. We have to beat them too. I mean, Dallas fans are like, we ain't scared of the Giants. Well, it's time for the Giants to make these teams scared of them a little bit.
Yeah, let's make a statement. Week 1, let's roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, he says, I think year 3 we close. We're very close to the Eagles next year. Always thought 3 years to rebuild this team. Think I was right about that will be a really good team. Yeah, next year, extra cap space, another draft. Sky's the limit, baby.
Yeah, you add one more weapon to this offense next year. You think about what the offense could be if you're able to keep Barkley for another year, if Waller could stay healthy, and you add a premium wide receiver on top of Jalen Hyatt's continued growth. And Evan Neal continues to get better. JMS year 2. Yeah, the offense could be really good in 2020. I'm excited for this year, but they could be really good in 2024.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. I don't know if my chat's sticking or what, man.
It's moving a little bit. I was
going to say there's 900 people in here, but I haven't really seen the chat moving, and
they're listening. They're listening.
Oh, gotcha. Well, good, perfect. That's what we're here for. Dan B,
give me a hell yeah!
Thank you so much. There's a difference between last regime and actual adults. Night and day. Let's freaking go.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, there's a plan in place. That's all there is to it, and that's what you should be encouraged about more above everything else. There's a plan in place. They don't just fly by the seat of their pants like the prior regime. There's a clear plan in place.
Absolutely. My guy, Big Moo. Big Moo, big shout out to Big Moo. He was there for most of the 24-hour stream through the wee hours of the morning. My guy was hanging out, having a good time. You're the man, brother. You are the man. Appreciate you. Says finally, I don't know if that. I think he meant to say tuning. I don't think he meant to say chewing, but maybe he did because he said it was out to dinner. So maybe he was chewing. Sorry about the trade today. What a steal! Great move. It's such a great move. Such a high reward, low risk move. The Giants really give up nothing for a guy that was picked 8th overall. And like I said, a lot of people thought he could be 1st overall. in the draft. And it's a guy that I definitely wanted. I was definitely all in on Isaiah Simmons. I thought the Giants needed a really big impact linebacker, and they got him now. So they got him for a 7th-round pick. They got Darren. They traded Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller, in essence. Things like that. So
yeah, I mean, when you really look at our draft this year,
Waller was part of it.
Well, yeah, when you look at Deontay Banks, JMS, Darren Waller, Jalen Hyatt, like what? Hawkins,
Hawkins and Riley are balling out too.
Riley, like, come on, man.
Yep. Tyler, thank you for the super chat. He says, "What position are we weak at now? None. We need guards."
Yeah, we're definitely weak at the guard. I don't want to use the term weak at wide receiver, but we don't have a premium wide receiver. We have a solid overall core, definitely much improved. Yeah, and I would say depth overall on the edge. I think we're weak off the edge in terms of depth. But there's, we're not a perfect football team, but we're much closer than we were last year. Right? We're improved at every positional group outside of maybe safety. Even though Pinnock's looked good, we lost Love. So maybe that's the one position you could say we're not. But outside of that, I don't think you could even make an argument for any other position. The D-line, we clearly got better with the additions we made. Linebacker, we clearly got better. Edge, you got to figure Kayvon's going to get better, and we got Aziz back. Yep. Offensive line's going to get better. Neal should get better. Can't get worse. Year or two. And JMS, you figure is an upgrade over what we had at the center spot. So and you got to figure Jones will be better. Year 2 in the scheme. So and the weapons are better. So we're better literally everywhere on this team this year. So I'm excited, man.
Absolutely. Hit that thumbs up, guys and girls. Let's go. We're almost at 400 likes. Let's get her done, baby. Johnny. He says, "Chris, you're wrong. Philly hates Dallas no matter what."
Oh, I know you hate them, but I think the big reason why Eagles fans are rooting strongly for us is because,
they figured Dallas was their main.
They fear Dallas a little bit more than the Giants, but that'll change by week 7, week 8.
Michael, thank you for the $1 donation, brother. Appreciate that very, very much. Timothy says the Giants going 15-2. I wish. So yeah, man. But we almost got 1,000 people in here, man. Appreciate you guys and girls being here. It's freaking awesome. The Giants,
big move.
Yeah, Giants season's right around the corner. We're 2 weeks away, and it's going to go very, very fast. Trust me when I tell you this. I always say, man, after the draft, I'm like, I can't wait for football season. And I'm like, it's going to go so fast. It always does. And this summer's been kind of crappy. So Yankees have sucked. The Mets have sucked. The weather's been awful. Time for some damn Giants football. The fall is going to be good. There's no doubt about it. Listen, man, the fall of the Cowboys is going to be maybe the fall of the Eagles. Nice to see that. Well, not a
back-to-back winner in however long in the NFC East. It's been a long time. So history tells you the Eagles will not win it again this year. We'll see if they break the trend.
Yeah, hopefully they don't. Hopefully they have a Super Bowl hangover and they suck. Let's see what you got to hope. Gotta hope that they suck. Huge. Cowboy MLB.
Give me a hell yeah.
Patty loved those, by the way. She was having a ball with it. I was like, I'm just a big kid. I like the sound. He says, I watched a YouTube video of a guy
critiquing.
Oh, I think he meant critiquing, but he spelled it that way.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I can't help it. I've always been like the grammar police. Like I am a guy that is all about spelling the word there properly. There's 3 ways to spell there. There's they are. There's there as in possession, and there's there as in a place. Some people use them incorrectly. Like they're stupid and they put THERE. I'm like, huh? So I'm that guy. I can't help it. I don't know what it is, but I'm weird. I don't know what else to say. I definitely am. I got my own problems. But he says, I watch a video of a guy just making me laugh. The word. That's not even close. Like it's not even close. Like if you put a K instead of a QU, like I get it.
Well, that would be how Kadarius Toney spells it.
Well, yes. He put the QU in front of the word instead of the end of it, where it's supposed to be. But that's pretty quick. Critiquing. DJ's drive and had the gal saying the Waller drop and Campbell's first and goal catch were bad throws. Get the F out of here. Giants are going 13-4, winning the East. Let's go. I love it.
Yeah, I watched. I mean, listen, whatever. It's a breakdown video. You try to be, I guess. I watched it. I actually think that guy's a good channel. He's a former quarterback. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I remember when he played in the NFL. But yeah, he definitely, yeah, I guess he threw it a little bit behind. Who was it on the on Paris Campbell off the bootleg? But if you can't really critique that first drive by Daniel Jones. He was 8 of 9. The only missed ball was a drop. He looked fantastic. He looked absolutely fantastic.
Come on, man. They just want to disrespect Daniel Jones all they can. I mean, they're looking for anything because the drive was flawless. It was flawless.
JT O'Sullivan, he played for the 49ers briefly, if I recall. I remember. That's the guy's channel it is.
Well, I can tell you what he wasn't. He wasn't a former English teacher. That I know. Maybe a little too many hits to the head. I don't know. But it is what it is. Kevin! Thank you, brother. He says, as a Commanders fan, y'all the only team I respect. I think their feeling's mutual.
I let's put it this way. The Commanders are by far I still hate you guys. You're a rival, but I definitely hate you by the least by a wide margin. It's Eagles, Cowboys, and then it's like Eagles here, Cowboys here, Washington's like there. And then everybody else I don't care about.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree. Like the Eagles, I can't stand them. I hate the freaking Eagles. I'm sick. I want to knock them right off their damn high horse. I want them to be riding on that horse, and then like the Three Stooges, one of them gigantic logs is just hanging down, and it takes Mo right off the horse. One of the funniest Three Stooges things I've ever seen. Both Curly and Larry duck, and Mo don't see it, and he just gets clotheslined right off the horse. That's what we got to do to the Eagles. We got to clothesline them right off the horse. Like watching Washington run all over them last year, I enjoyed that thoroughly. Yeah. We got to do the same thing, though. We're going to beat the Eagles. We have to tighten up the line of scrimmage this year.
Absolutely.
That was not very good last year. Jake! Thank you so much, man. He says, I think with Simmons, they don't plan to drop Kayvon in coverage on some plays and let Simmons handle it and let Kayvon get after the quarterback. Definitely, I think you'll see that. I think you'll see other times when they do drop, Kayvon out in coverage and let Simmons go after the quarterback. And that's what makes Simmons so great is he can do so many different things. He's a unicorn, as it were, just because he can play a little safety. He can blitz. He's ferocious. He's athletic. He's fast. Also, as is Kayvon.
Yeah.
As is Azeez Ojulari. I think what those three guys can do on the field, it's like what Wink's got to be drooling.
Oh, yeah. Karake, yeah. I mean, the Giants' front seven is really good, really good. Yeah. Wink's excited. I'll tell you that right now. He knows he's got the pieces in place now to do what he wants as a defense, which is bring the house as much as he possibly can.
Let's give 500 likes. Somebody here, 937 watching, 446 in the likes. I know we can do it because we're the Giants, baby. Making moves. Giants are making freaking moves. Jatan, man, thank you, brother. He says if we get a guard, that would help Azudu or Glowinski. Make me nervous. What about Pugh?
Yeah, we've been asked this now for the last couple of weeks. I'd like to add a guard, an interior offensive lineman. I don't know if it'll be Pugh or if it'll be another guy that's released off another roster on the 53-man cutdown day, but. I those are the guys we're going to war with week one. I don't think it's going to be a guy we pick up right before the season starts. We talk about how the offensive line's all about continuity and learning to play with one another. I don't see them picking up a guy after the final preseason game and just being like, all right, you're in the starting lineup. Let's go. No, you think about we have a rookie center with JMS, right? You want this guy to be as comfortable as he possibly can be before the year starts. This guy's now been practicing with those guys on either end now for months. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're just going to turn and pick up a guy 10 days before the start of the year and just throw him in there. And at one point I made on my live stream, and I don't like the musical chairs thing. I don't think the Giants know what they're doing at the guard spots personally, whether it be Bredesen, whether it be Azudu, whether it be Glowinski. But I think a big reason why the Giants have done it as much as they have in training camp, outside of trying to figure out who they want to start, although I do think it's going to be Bredesen and Glowinski, it's also to make JMS as comfortable as possible because this guy is going to have to play next to these guys. So they're trying to give him many looks as they possibly can with those guys on either side, I think, so he can get as comfortable as he possibly can before the year starts. So I think that has something to do with it. But they may pick up a lineman, but I don't expect them to pick up a starter. I think they know the starters right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if they brought in Pugh, it would be for depth purposes, and maybe, he outplays those guys and ends up starting week 6 or week 7. But I agree with Chris. I mean, you got JMS, he's a rookie. He's used to the guys next to him. Again, the offensive line is not supposed to be like just a group of 5 individuals. They're supposed to play off of one another. And, yeah, our guard spot is weak, and the depth is really weak, as we've seen in preseason. But, I don't know what Joe Schoen is going to do. Like I forgot who said it earlier. I don't think he's done. I think he does have another move or two up his sleeve. And that's the one thing we've seen the Joe Schoen, Brandon Brown, the front office, the coaching staff, they have gone after things that they need. Like they have targeted. That's why Chris and I and a lot of Giants fans are so happy about the draft because we went in there needing a corner, a center, or a lineman anyway, and a wide receiver, and they got all 3 of them.
Yeah, and they got all 3 of them.
Good ones.
And it met value. Like, it wasn't like they reached on any of them. It was arguably the best value with the pick, and you got positions of need. So it was just perfect. It was, it was a perfect draft from that sense, at least.
My guy, Bobby, thank you for being a member for 3 years and 3 months. Bobby, where the hell were you during the 24-hour stream?
Bobby, what's going on? Everybody in the chat, say hi to Bobby.
I had too much Mr. Softy and fell asleep because Bobby usually hangs out in the 24-hour stream, and about 5 in the morning would always fall asleep for about an hour and go, sorry, Baddog, I fell asleep. I'm like, Bobby, it's okay. You don't need to be up 24. I'm the only one that needs to be up for that 24 hours. I appreciate everybody that is. I appreciate all the lunatics that do stay up for the entire 24 hours. There's a good dozen of them that did, at least. But Bobby, we missed you. We missed you, my friend. We always miss Bobby. Everybody say hello to Bobby in the chat.
Bobbo!
Hey, you, our favorite Giants fan. Hey, you. All this excitement to be let down. I love it. LDJ, should we just say we're gonna not win a game? Ayub, is that better?
We'll see. I think what I think will happen, Ayub, is Daniel Jones this year will go out there. He'll throw for 27 touchdowns. He'll run for another 5. The Giants will win 9 or 10 games against a really tough schedule, and you'll move the goalpost even more. You'll say that he didn't throw 32. You'll say that he didn't beat Jalen Hurts. You'll say something, and you'll move the goalpost even more. And the next year he'll knock that goalpost down, and you'll continue to move the goalpost. And I look forward to talking to it about it with you for the next 5 or 6 years because get used to it. He's going to be the quarterback.
I know exactly what Ayub is doing. It's called reverse psychology. I'm telling you right now. There's no way a Giants fan hates his team that much. Listen, not when they're good. Like Yankee fans, you should hate the team right now. Lord knows I do. Mets fans, you should hate your team right now. You should.
Yeah. We do.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. But Giants fans have no reason to hate their team right now. Ayub, I think, is just really because they have had 5 really awful years, and they kind of had a surprise season. Maybe he's just,
he's trying to temper expectations.
Yeah, what he's doing,
he's trying to be that Debbie Downer fan, so he knows. I get the psychology behind the negative. They try to knock it down as much as they can, so they kind of undersell what they think the team's going to be. Right. That way, they could be at least slightly surprised.
Yeah, so what it is he doesn't expect much, so he's pleasantly surprised when they do something. I think that's keep your expectations low. That way you won't be disappointed. I think that's really the way Ayub is going into the
I get it. I get the psychology behind it. I respect it.
Giants, like he says. I think he's cautious. He doesn't want to get us hyped up as we are and go, oh, shit, we had a bad year. I think maybe he has PTSD from 2017 to 2021.
I mean, I can't blame him or any other Giants fan what we've been through the last 5 or 6 years. So.
That's what I'm saying. So, But Ayub's always here, so we appreciate you, buddy. We definitely do.
Yeah, we just have fun.
Thunderstud, great name. Thank you for becoming a member, brother. Where my dog pound at? Welcome, Thunderstud, into the kennel, baby. Let's go. And Corp, my man, thank you so much again. For the incredible generosity.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
He says, for me, I hate the Cowboys more than the Eagles. I'm the other way around. No matter the record in the season, because the media continuously calls them America's team, they don't even wear the American flag colors. The New York Giants has a red alternative jersey, white away, blue home. Buffalo's red, white, and blue too. New York Giants, Buffalo. They got dubbed that from.
You would think the Patriots would be, if anybody, right?
Yeah. Well, the Cowboys got that monochrome from the 1978 NFL films. John Facenda dubbed them America's team, even though they lost the Super Bowl that year to the Steelers. That is where that came from. I think part of it was obviously the Cowboys. And again, I was not old enough to watch football in the 70s. I mean, I'm older than dirt, but I didn't really see those glory days of the Cowboys. I saw the 90s. But I think what this stems from, honestly, is, there was certainly no streaming. There was not 7 million cable channels that broadcast every game. You pretty much just got your primetime game. And that was the Cowboys. They were always on. So America saw them, and that's why I'm guessing they got that America's team thing. But let's face it, they suck. I wasn't even 20 the last time they won it. I'm almost 50 now, Chris. I mean, it's just, come on.
And you got to get the VHS tape out anytime you want to watch a Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl. And that's the way it'll stay until Dak Prescott retires. And then maybe I'll be a little bit scared.
That's right. Listen, man, I'm going to break out my VHS of Seinfeld. And Everybody Loves Raymond, because those are popular the last time that.
The last time they won, Seinfeld was live.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think maybe Everybody Loves Raymond started a little after that. But, the Cowboys looking fantastic. And you want to talk about a team that never lives up to expectations, it's them. Every year, we winning it. It's our year. The media loves them. Oh, blah, 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 blah. The media, well, Dallas. Eat it up.
Dak Prescott took advantage of the weakest division in the entire league his first 5 years in the league. He built his career. He built his contract off of that. Let's just call it how it is. The Giants were the worst team in the NFL collectively from 2017 to 2021. Washington wasn't far behind. He beat up on those two teams. He got 4 automatic wins every year, and he got to bolster his stats. That's the fact of the matter. That's the truth. And I'm glad that he did, because then they had to pay him. And now they got an average quarterback that they're paying like a franchise quarterback because he took advantage of a horrible division. And I think week 1, Daniel Jones is going to beat his ass. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Argenis. Thank you so much. He says, crazy to think we might have potential all pros on all 3 levels of defense. Let's go. Definitely.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go that far. But we have talent.
Maybe Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, potential Pro Bowler. I'm not going to go all pro. Dex, for sure, obviously was an all pro. Leonard Williams has the potential to be a Pro Bowler. McKinney has the potential to be a Pro Bowler. Kayvon has the potential to be a Pro Bowler.
McKinney was.
Yeah, I think I said McKinney, but if I didn't, McKinney. We definitely have talent on the defense. There's no doubt about it.
We definitely needed it up front too, and that's what I'm saying. They know what happened. They don't have to go look at the tape. They saw it with their own eyes. We're getting shoved around up front, and we can't get bullied anymore. We're going to do something about it. We're going to draft a center. We're going to get a big nasty kid in there that's going to throw guys around. We're going to bolster up our defensive line with Ashawn and Nacho. And if Jordan Riley ends up being anything, they got a ton of depth there, and he's like really good. That man's a big boy. Like Brandon Brown said when he was talking about it, he goes, you can't really teach size.
Yeah.
You have that. It's like speed. You either have that or you don't. But if he ends up being anything, man, you get if those guys are average. If Hawkins and Riley are average starters, you killed it, because those are your 6th or 7th round picks.
Yeah.
If they do anything more than that, I mean, it's amazing. But I don't know, man. I love it. Manny, he says McAfee YouTube vid with Chuck Pagano. Good wink info.
I'll have to check that out. I have seen. I didn't see that yet, Manny. But I have seen that McAfee's been talking about the Giants a lot. I don't watch McAfee's show. I see the clips that they post on Twitter. I do like McAfee. I don't watch the show. but he's been talking about the Giants a lot lately. He's been talking up Daniel Jones, the Giants. So I'll have to check that video out though about Wink. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, Wink. I mean, I'm pumped up to see what Wink can do with this defense this year. I really am, man. It's so much more talented than it was last year, and he's had a year to work with the guys that were already here. Yeah. So it could be Stevens should be a lot better than it was last year, no question. Richard, thank you so much, brother. He says, Chris, can you do a play-by-play for the chat on a game-winning drive by DJ? I think we did that. Sure.
Week 1 against Dallas. Week 1. I'm not gonna do a whole drive. That'll take forever. I'll give you the game-winning play.
Yeah, I think we did that a couple weeks ago too.
We'll do it again. We'll get the chat excited.
Yeah, go for it.
Giants down by 4, 13 seconds to go. They'll break the huddle after they use their last timeout. Dallas coming out in man press cover.
Come on,
come on, G-Man, let's go.
Come on, DJ. Shut him up, DJ.
Daniel Jones out of the gun. He sees the blitz coming off the left side from Parsons. Calls out an audible. Looks like Bellinger motions over to set the block. Jones will take the snap, rolls out to the right. He gets pressure from Tank Lawrence. Jones able to step up in the pocket, avoid the pressure. Looks deep to the end zone. He's got Hyatt in the corner, throws it up on the run, and he's got it for 6.
Let's go!
Up! New York Giant fans. Giants knock off the Cowboys. They get up to a nice 1-0 start. So there you go. There's your game-winning throw. And if they
eat it, Dallas.
17 yards in the corner.
I would love it. 17 yards, that might be a little bit too far for comfort. I would love it. Big move. Stay with him for a year. You got your LT badge. There you go. Got the LT badge. Got the LT badge for a year, baby. That's what we're talking about. I love it. Love to see it. Big move made me an offer I couldn't refuse. That's why we don't have the Golden Girls right now. But it was a very fair deal. Big move is the man. Xavier, my friend, thank you for the $1 donation, brother. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Manny, thank you for the super chat. This is Chris. Haven't heard some Piano Man in forever.
What does he mean? Sing Piano Man?
That was back in our.
That was back in our days. Yeah.
Stream days.
Yeah, maybe.
Sevens in that chat. Look at all the sevens in that chat. I love it. All the sevens in the chat. They know.
Maybe I'll drop a little.
Get those sevens in the chat, guys. Let's go.
I'll drop a little Piano Man maybe at the end of the stream for you, Manny.
There you go. Blue Monkey said, thank you for super chat. He says, I love that dice clip. I take the place.
Oh, is that dice? Is that dice?
Yeah, that's for me.
That is dice.
That's I think that's a Ford Fairlane. I think that was the movie.
Ah.
I know Cradle of Love was by Billy Idol. Ford Fairlane sucked ass, but it had a really good soundtrack. Now, they came out the same year. I don't know if that actually, like that song was in the movie or not, but yeah, that is Andrew Dice Clay. Yes.
By the way, Little Bulldozer says, will we ever get a live reaction from you two together? We do live reactions every game, but if you're talking about an individual video, we have, I think it's on my channel. One of my subscribers made it for us. It's a live reaction of all 3 of our reactions for the first 3 picks this year.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. But yeah, we do it every week. We always do the games together every week. It's a beautiful thing. Thunderstar, thank you for the $2 boom. Thank you so much. Big Moose says play the Golden Girls. Well, just one more time. I think Big Moo's a fan. I think Big Moo might miss it, but you got it, buddy.
Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend, Big Moo. My man. There you go. Love Ford. Carson says, love Ford Fairlane. So stupid, it's good. I don't know if that's from that or not. Don't understand. That was the first ever super chat. So thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
I don't think I mean, I saw, obviously I know Dice, and I actually saw him live and stand up a few times. I don't think I ever saw that movie. I know that was one of his more popular movies that he made. I don't think I ever saw it.
Big Moose says, just to kill my dessert craving. I'll just get a cup of coffee. That works for me all the time. Cup of black coffee, man. I'm telling you, it suppresses the appetite. It really does. It's a good appetite killer. There's a guy that has to kill his appetite a number of times on a daily basis. what usually when we get done with this, it's 11 o'clock and I'm hungry and yeah, I drink coffee before I go to bed. It doesn't keep me up because I'm so caffeinated all the time. But it definitely helps because those cravings at 11 o'clock. That's right. That's right, Sadie. Yeah. EMF, electrifying mad funkers is what that was. And yes, you're unbelievable was the song back in 91. I was
Yeah, I know the song. I didn't realize that was Dice. But now when I hear the yeah, it makes sense. But I didn't realize it was him.
That is the Dice man. No question about it. But I don't know, man. I don't know what we're looking for here against the Jets. I mean, what do you? By the way, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
That's fine. Saturday happened last year. Right?
It's a Saturday though. Like I thought it was Friday. I thought it was tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I looked and saw 6 o'clock on Saturday. And I'm like, shit. My wife and I, we already had plans to go out. So
it's
I don't know when we are going out. It might be later, so I may be able to do a half or something. I don't know. But I was like,
don't worry about it.
I know that game was.
Yeah,
I know, but it sucks. I like doing the game. I like hanging out with the chat.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. So
we'll go live solo, hang out with the chat, and we'll get and obviously we'll be doing it together for the regular season when it matters.
I ain't missing.
But yeah, as far as the preseason goes, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I don't think they're going to play the majority of the starters based on like the early reports from what I've read. I think they'll play some of the starters. I think that because I do think there's value to be had for guys like Hawkins, guys like Banks, to go up against Aaron Rodgers, to go up against the Jets' first team wide receivers. I do think there's
the Jets' first team playing.
Yeah, Rodgers is playing. I don't know how long, but he's going to play. He hasn't played yet all preseason. So if he plays 2 or 3 drives, if I'm the Giants, I'll throw Banks out there for 2 drives, put him on, their ones, put Hawkins on their ones. But I think like the veterans like Jones, Barkley, Waller, Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, I don't expect those guys to play. Azeez Ojulari, no. But maybe JMS gets 2 or 3, drives. Same thing with Evan Neal. Like the younger guys that they feel need the reps to continue to grow. Jalen Hyatt will be involved, but I don't think like the veterans will play, if I had to guess.
Yep. Where are we? Thunderstar, thank you for the super chat. So the Super Friends thing was supposed to be Wednesday. Law is actually in California with the Cowboys, so he couldn't do it. So this Wednesday, August 30th, that's when we're going to do it. I believe Chris and I are going to be live with Patty on Tuesday. I think that's what she said.
I didn't see the chat today.
I think it was Tuesday.
Okay.
So, I thought you responded to it. I haven't looked at Twitter.
No, I didn't respond. I didn't see it.
Okay.
I mean, I'll check. I would have saw it by tomorrow. So Tuesday. I'll do it on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. Yeah. I said Tuesday works for me, and I didn't look. I thought you responded because I had a bunch of messages there. I just haven't looked at them. Not yet. So I don't know. People like the EMF one. I have a good one that I brought in on a 24-hour stream too. There's a couple of new ones there. Weldon. Thank you, my man. It says not to be a downer, but are we overhyping a bit much? No, it's overhyping. Maybe over excitement. Excited? I mean, Chris and I are picking them to win like 13 games. But we think they'll be good. I don't know if it's overhype. I'm just excited.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's overhyping to say that the team has dramatically improved because they have. They've gotten much better on in terms of talent. But I think we're both keeping it at least semi-realistic for fans. You're never gonna get completely realistic when you're talking to fans on fans' channels. At least in my opinion, you're always gonna be at least slightly biased. But we've got them at 9. At least I have them at 9 wins. I think that's fair because of the schedule. If we were playing last year's schedule, I'd probably have us at 11 wins. But it's a tough schedule, so I've got us at 9 wins. I think we'll compete pretty much on a weekly basis, and we'll grow this year, and we'll continue to get better. But I don't. Yeah, a little bit. Sure, we're overhyping them a bit. We're fans, but I don't think it's like extreme. Like we're not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. We're not saying we realize that there's still more growth that needs to be had.
And then it just finishes guard and cornerback, so major question marks. Agreed.
Yeah.
You got 2 rookies out there, and guards are weak. Yes, no question. Might be in for a rude awakening Sunday night. Pray I'm wrong. It's fair. I mean, we haven't beat Dak Prescott in 3 years, so it's a fair assessment. But again,
yeah, I mean, I agree with him. I think that's my biggest worry going into the year, not just because they're rookie corners, and I've said it like 100 times. It's because of the receivers we're going up against. I mean, we're playing literally a great receiver every single week, and you have two corners that have never played in the NFL. What you're hoping for as a Giants fan, because you got to be realistic. Hawkins is going to struggle. Banks is going to struggle. They're rookies.
Absolutely.
You know, they've never gone up against. They've never seen Terry McLaurin. They've never seen Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel and
CeeDee
CeeDee
Lamb.
They've never seen these guys.
Waddle, Tyreek Hill,
Devontae Adams. Yeah. So, Cup. I mean, you name a great receiver, we're going up against them. So they're going to have their struggles. But I think what you have to hope for as a Giants fan is that the pass rush, which I think is the biggest strength on this team, the front seven, the edge, the interior pressure, they create havoc and they help out that young secondary. But there's going to be bumps in the road. This team is far from perfect. It's far from a finished product.
Not a finished product yet.
We're still growing. But I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic.
Yep. What's going on, Barbara? How you doing, my lady? Good to see you. Deception. Thank you for super chat. He says, "You guys think Simmons could be what Hassan Reddick was when he left Arizona?" Oh, we could only pray. But Reddick's more of an edge rusher. Simmons doesn't really fit that role. I think he's not going to. I don't know what Reddick had, 16 sacks, 15 sacks. Like, I don't expect that from Simmons, but what I do think is that you can utilize Simmons' skill set in a lot of varieties, and it just kind of blends in with what Wink does. Again, Wink's system's not really set up for one guy to dominate. I think what we say, Chris, he's never had a guy in a system that had double-digit sacks.
Never, yeah.
So it's not really set up for like one guy to dominate, where it's a bunch of guys that contribute to getting sacks. He might have 4 or 5 sacks. Thibodeau might have 8 sacks. Aziz might have 8 sacks. Beavers might have 3 sacks. Okereke might have a couple sacks. McKinney might have a couple sacks. Like, that's really the way it's going to do, because he likes to bring pressure from all over the place. I mean, I hope Carl Banks is right. He says Aziz is going to have 15 sacks. That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I do think that they'll rush him up the edge at times, and they'll rush him up the middle at times in the gaps. But there's a different player. I mean, Reddick he's a strict pass rusher in every sense of the word. Simmons is not that type of player. He's a different type of player, in my opinion. So I just think it's a little bit of apples and oranges. But I do think Simmons with this coaching staff could be I don't know how good he's going to be. We'll see. But I definitely think he can make an impact for this football team this year. There's no doubt about it. I think there's a reason to be excited about this move.
Big Daddy's excited. Thank you, sir. He says, we are winning the Super Bowl.
I love it. Hey, that's what we love.
What year, though? He didn't say what year.
That's what we love about the NFL, man. It's completely unpredictable. Anything can happen. And, and not that I think we're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think we're ready yet. But even the teams that did win the Super Bowls, they weren't perfect, especially the first one. I'm talking about the ones I saw. In 2007, our secondary wasn't great. Our corners weren't great. They were mediocre at best, but we had a great pass rush. And obviously that made up for a lot of it. Our quarterback at that point was not great. Eli Manning played very well in the playoffs, but he was not great at that point. So
he struggled.
Yeah, he struggled.
So interceptions in 2007.
Yeah. So, you don't have to be perfect to win, but obviously I don't expect it this year. But I do think the Giants are going to be a tough out. I think they're going to be a good football team, mainly because they're so well coached, and now there's more talent with this great coaching staff. So I'm excited, man. I think they're going to be better than some people may think.
I agree. I'm very happy tonight that I have not called Isaiah Simmons Isaiah Thomas, because when I was making my video, I had to do it. I had to restart like 3 times because I said Isaiah Thomas, and I'm like, we really don't want Isaiah Thomas, Knicks fan. So keep that name out your mouth.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I haven't messed that up. I'm waiting for that to happen, but it hasn't. As of Blue Monkey. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. He says, "Where's the Hartman clips?"
Holy Jesus! What is that? What the fuck is that?
There you go.
That the first half hour of that movie,
Boot camp. The boot camp
might be the greatest first half hour of a war movie in the history of cinema.
It's amazing.
I wouldn't say the whole movie is the greatest war movie ever, but the first half hour you can't top that, man. That's incredible. The first half hour of that movie.
It's another one when it comes on. My wife's like, "You're watching that again?" Yeah. I'm only watching half though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
only watched
You that's the type of movie that when it I mean, I think it's a great movie.
It
But
is. It is.
but it's the type of movie that you're like, you
It
can sit
peaks
and
too
watch.
soon.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. I love that movie.
Listen, as a trash talker myself, I enjoy Gunnery Sergeant Hartman's trash talk. Hey, he can bring it.
Yeah.
He can bring it. That's just awesome. That is just awesome. I just love when he rips the recruits at the beginning of that movie.
Oh my God. It's so good. So
It
good.
is so good. Are you is food allowed in the barracks private pile? No, sir, no, sir. Are you allowed to eat jelly donuts, private pile? Sir, no, sir. And why not, private pile? Sir, because I'm too heavy, sir. Because you are a disgusting fat body. I love it. Did you have any children that lived, sir? Yes, I bet they regret that. You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece. I love it. I like know every part of his thing because my mind is stupid. And instead of knowing where we're supposed to be going on Saturday, I memorized Gunnery Sergeant Hartman lines from Full Metal Jacket from 35 years ago. Andy, even in Jens, what did I miss? What did I miss? Oh,
Isaiah Simmons, a New York Giant. If you didn't hear about that,
that's a good one. Yeah, that's really what it's based on tonight. Is
yeah.
A guy that I certainly wanted. I know a lot of the fan base is pretty split on wanting the tackle and wanting Isaiah Simmons. So
people, of course, now in hindsight, now you very rarely hear people admit that they wanted Simmons.
I did. Yeah. And I said,
like on Twitter, everybody acts like, "Oh, I always wanted to tackle that." I was here. We did the shows together. We did the videos. You were not alone. It was very split.
It was very split.
Yeah. And for good reason. For good reason. Simmons was a very exciting prospect. Obviously, I was thrilled we took the tackle, but yeah, I'm happy now that we ended up getting Simmons. I think he's a guy that can help this football team.
Yeah, listen, man, I don't hide my takes, good or bad.
Of course not.
You don't find me deleting a video because I was wrong. Actually, somebody went back to my Isaiah Simmons video today and said, "We got him." I was like, yes. But yeah, I want it. I mean, and again, I don't know why he was considered a bust. I don't know. Like, I looked at this, and again, stats still have the story. I don't watch the man play. I don't watch Arizona football. So I don't know what the problem was there. They were a bad football team. I know he played out of position, but I don't really I don't know what was so bad about him. But we gave him a 7th round pick for a guy that was drafted 8th overall, and he's 20. He literally just turned 25. He's going into his 4th year. It's just a great move that cost the Giants absolutely nothing. And
there's no risk. There's no risk with the move. It's a great move. There's no risk there. Giants stole him, in my opinion. And just in terms of his upside, he's worth a lot more than a 7th round pick. And I think the Giants took advantage of the situation. People ask, well, why couldn't they get more than a 7th round pick? Because teams knew they were stuck between a rock and a hard place. So if you're a team negotiating with them, knowing that they're probably going to cut him if they can't trade him, because Simmons obviously doesn't want to be there. They feel he doesn't fit the team. Maybe they want to save a little cap. If you're a team, why would you give up more than what the Giants gave up? So, it makes complete sense why the Giants were able to get him for what they got him for. And I think they stole him. Just his upside alone, he's worth more than a 7th round pick. I think they took advantage of the situation.
Absolutely. That's what a good GM does, Chris. That's what a good GM does. As Kevin Burke said, 2007 was your first Super Bowl you saw. Mine was 1990. Yes, I'm old. Kevin, I'm older than you because I saw the one from 1986. So there you go. Yes. I am old. We know that, as I mentioned, I'm almost 50, and that is freaking old. Deception.
Give me a hell yeah.
Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. He says, I didn't really mean sacks when it comes to sacks. And Reddick, but rather how Reddick wasn't a known commodity until he left. Maybe Arizona doesn't know how to use players. Well, the one thing I'll say, deception, Giants
point
on Reddick because he had 5 sacks one game.
I was going to say that too. Yeah, but no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It is.
Bad teams. I mean, it happened to us for years with a lot of our players. Eric Flowers left. He actually became a pretty good player after he left the New York Giants because we didn't know how to put our players in the best situations to be successful. And there's several other players you could probably point to over the course of the years that got better. Evan Ingram's another one, got better after he left New York. Even though I think that was more mental than anything else. But Yeah, I think, yeah, there's several instances where you could point to a guy is not set up to succeed, and then he gets put in a situation to be successful, and he flourishes. And do I think it's possible? Yeah. Just the fact that it's at least a realistic possibility makes it a great trade. Even if it doesn't happen, it makes it a great trade. Just on the chance that he could become
Right.
a good defensive player for this football team, to only give up a 7th-round pick, it's a no-brainer.
Exactly. Because again, being that he'll be a free agent next year, if he comes in here and he fits Wink's system really good and he balls out, the Giants can keep him. So in essence, they gave up a 7th-round pick for the guy, and Arizona gave up the 8th overall pick for him. So again, you don't get drafted in the top 10 if you don't have a massive amount of talent. Now, when you get to the NFL, you still have to work incredibly hard, probably harder than you ever had to work in your life, because there's a gigantic leap from the collegiate level to the NFL. We all know that. You have to work. You have to want it. You can't rest on your laurels. But you don't go in the top 10 if you're not like an absolute phenom. And he is. And we got to hope that our coaching staff gets the most out of him, because we saw what Daniel Jones, Sherman got more out of him than Judge did, but he had a lot of turnovers. He not fumbled 19 times that year, threw 12 picks. So then Joe Judge came in here and ruined everybody. And then you see what Dable and Mike Kafka did for him. And again, I don't just look at the statistics. I watch the Giants every game and I see what he does, and I don't really worry about the stats unless you're on my fantasy team. But like a guy with Isaiah Simmons, I look at his stats and they look pretty good.
Well, yeah, because you don't get to watch him. Yeah, that's all you can look at. Yeah. But yeah, I listen, I think he's a good fit. And I trust this coaching staff to maximize whatever he could get us. We're going to find out what that is. But I trust this coaching staff to maximize whatever he could give us.
Yes. Completely agree.
Yeah, Flowers was a Reese pick. Kevin asked, was Flowers a Reese pick? Yeah, he was a Reese pick.
Yes, it was. Yep, 2015. Yeah. That was a Jerry Reese pick, because Sheriff went off the board and he panicked and he took Flowers and played him out of position his entire career. And that was Jerry Reese at the end of his tenure. Eric! All right, breaking him out. Here we go. There you go, Eric. One that way. There you go. Let's go, Giants fans. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's go. I'm ready to run through the wall, baby. He also said, how do I get Chris to show his bicep?
No, I don't. You ain't getting me. I gotta work out like Baddog for about 3 or 4 years to put in the work before I start showing off my biceps.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. Russell, my man.
Give me a hell yeah.
Thank you so much, brother. He says, since Summerall and Madden, I haven't watched network play-by-play. Then I found your streams. Best play-by-play in my mind currently. Can't wait for the game live streams. Thanks.
Appreciate that, Russell. Hopefully you swing by on Saturday. I'm going to need all your guys' support, and always love doing that. It's a lot of fun. I do the play-by-play. Baddog brings the emotion of the fan. I think it's a really good balance, right? Because you come there, you're all fans. You want to hang out with fans. You want those reactions. So I try to be at least semi-professional with that, and Baddog makes a lot of fun with the reaction. So we appreciate all you guys.
Try to give you the Madden aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
Feet. You get 1 foot in, you take 1 foot out, you got to put it out of bounds, you bring it back in, you put your right hand in, you take it out, you shake it all around, and do the hook, but boom, and it's a touchdown. So I try to bring that. Yeah, Chris is more the Summerall. I'm more the Madden type of guy. I'm the guy that screams every time they make a play. Yeah. My words are "let's go." And every time I see Tom Brady in that commercial, I just laugh, because I'm like, every time the Giants make a big play, that's exactly what I scream. Let's go! Where are we going? I don't, but we appreciate it, Russell. Thank you so much. We appreciate what you guys and girls have made this show. Those of you who are there for the 24-hour stream, the very end of it, know, I think for the last hour and a half, I get to went a lot longer, because watching us from 4 or 5 years ago, just seeing where he started, the setups. Yeah. Afghanistan was one of the first ones in there, mind you. I saw it. I'm like, look at Afghanistan was there right away.
Afghanistan doesn't miss a stream from the beginning.
No, I was like, look at Afghanistan. It's like the first guy in this stream. That was awesome. Like I didn't, I didn't know. I forgot who we were talking about too. It's funny.
We were probably talking about the offensive line.
Bridgewater was definitely a guy we were talking about. Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
We were talking about how Dak sucks.
Dak does suck.
He hasn't changed. But just watching him back, I'm like, I could have stayed up another 2-3 hours. Seriously, I was not tired. I finished that one standing on my head. But it was fun going back and watching those first couple of streams that we did just to kind of see and see how much this show has grown and how the channels are growing and how the fan base has grown. And it's so awesome. And doing those games on Sunday, being able to do the game of the Chris is always so much fun. We have a lot of energy. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, depending on what the Giants do. And I love the fact that we get to watch it with 4,000 of our closest friends.
That's great. It's great.
It's
I love how people hold our takes sometimes against us though in the heat of battle. They're like, "Oh, you bashed Daniel Jones last." Well, yeah, I'm watching a game. You're not thinking objectively in the heat of the moment. You're thinking emotionally. That's the way you think when you watch a football game.
Exactly.
It's a lot of fun, man.
It is. Oh, it's awesome. Andy. Thank you so much, buddy. He says DeAndre Baker, worst draft pick from the last 10 years. Eli Apple, my opinion.
Here's what I'll say about the DeAndre Baker pick is horrendous. And what makes that pick make even less sense was the fact that Gettleman was setting this tone that he was selling the fans that he was looking for high character guys. And it came out after the fact that Baker had a lot of red flags while at college that the Giants knew about. So that makes the pick even worse and make even less sense. But the crazy thing is, if Gettleman makes the right pick there, which obviously in hindsight was a wide receiver. It was a rich wide receiver draft class. We had just traded Odell Beckham. You replaced him with Golden Tate. If he would have drafted A.J. Brown, if he would have drafted Deebo Samuel, if he would have drafted one of those high-end wide receivers, that would have been one of the greatest draft classes in New York Giant history because you would have ended up with Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, A.J. Brown. They got Slayton in the 5th round. They got Julian Love, I think, in the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been like one of the top 3 or 4 draft classes in the history of New York Giants football if they would have made that one change with that pick. They take one of those 3 or 4 high-end wide. DK Metcalf went in the 2nd round of that draft. If you substitute a wide receiver for that Baker pick, that would have been one of the greatest drafts in Giant history.
I just didn't work out. Baker was ultra talented. Again, I wanted DeAndre Baker and Dexter Lawrence in that draft. Those are 2 guys that I wanted. But, I mean, truth be told, they picked Daniel Jones. I was so freaking upset. I couldn't even be happy that they drafted him. Obviously, Daniel Jones ended up being worth it. And DeAndre Baker definitely did not. That was not good.
No, I mean, that's definitely got to be in the top. It's in the top 3 or 4. I mean, Flowers is up there. Apple's up there. Ingram was not a good pick. And it's less to do with Ingram, the player, because Ingram, as much as we didn't like Ingram's far better than these other players we mentioned as Giants. But that pick just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense for the needs that we had on the team. There's been a lot of bad picks for the Giants, but I might lean Baker because of the guys that ended up being available with that pick. I might lean. That was a bad pick.
2016, I never wanted Eli Apple. I thought he sucked ass. But the fact that the Giants' plans got leaked out and the Titans traded up and got Conklin, and then the Bears traded up and got Leonard Floyd, that irritated me a lot. And then they went out and got Eli Apple, which I just couldn't believe. I believe that was the Laramie Tunsil draft as well. They could have had Laramie Tunsil in 2016. So, it freaking sucks, but I don't know. You know what? It's behind us now.
Seti mentions one of my favorite drafts in Giants history, the 2005 draft. We only had 4 picks.
Yep.
And we ended up with Brandon Jacobs, Justin Tuck, and another really good player that I can't remember off the top of my head. They hit on 3 of their 4 picks, 75% hit rate, and they were all big time contributors. Oh, Corey Webster, Brandon Jacobs, and Justin Tuck in the same draft, and they only had 4 picks. Imagine that.
Yeah, shows you what a good GM will do.
Yeah,
Reese, that was a Corsi. That was not Reese. It was Ernie Corsi that made those picks.
Yeah.
Eric,
Eli drafts up there too. By the way, you ended up obviously Eli, but you got Snee, who was an All-Pro guard, All-Pro interior alignment for the Giants. And I think there was another big contributor in that draft too. Those drafts between like 2002 to like 2006, that's where we built our Super Bowl team.
Yeah. That's what you hope Shane and Brandon Brown are doing, building like that, where you're
Yeah.
hitting up your draft picks, even the later draft picks, and you're able to build around them, and then they develop into really good players. And that's exactly how you do it. Eric, thoughts on the Kobe statue on 2/8/24? Well, I'm sure I'll be streaming that game, unless that's the All-Star break. I don't think the All-Star break's that early. I didn't hear about that. I know Kobe's birthday was yesterday. He would have been.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because he was number 8 and number 24. So I'm assuming that's why they're doing it then. But I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, one of the greatest.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah, maybe the greatest player in the history of that franchise. I mean, it's either him or Magic, Abdul-Jabbar. But I mean, they've had
The Lakers have had some amazing.
Jerry West. By the way, one show that you would love, Dad, though.
What's that?
You grew up in that era, and I know you're not big onto TV. One show that you should watch, and I highly recommend anybody that's a sports fan watch. It's in season 2. It's on HBO.
I have HBO.
Oh, you don't have it? Okay. I forgot the name of it, but it's about the Bird and Magic era, and it's all about that Lakers team, and it shows you behind the scenes with Jerry Buss.
I wanted to watch that. Because
the show is great. The show is great. John C. Reilly plays Jerry Buss. He's fantastic. The show's awesome. It's in season 2. They just started integrating Bird into the story. It's such a good
Showtime. Is it called Showtime?
Something with a Winning Time. I think it's called. Matthew just said it, but yeah, I mean that show's fantastic. I love that show. That show's great. Winning Time, Rise of the Laker Dynasty. Mickey just said it there. Yeah, it's great.
And then of course there was a 30 for 30. Reggie Miller winning time against the Knicks.
Oh God, don't remind me of that. By the way, and I didn't get to experience it. You did. Do you think that's the greatest rivalry in the history of sports? When Magic was with the Lakers and Bird was with the Celtics? Because you think of the history of that, it goes back to college. When he played at Indiana State, Magic played at Michigan State. They meet in the national championship. Still to this day, I think it's the highest viewed college basketball game in the history of sports. You had the East Coast, West Coast thing. You had the blue collar, flashy thing. Because Bird was kind of that blue collar, the white black thing. Of course.
Magic was Showtime,
and then the guy from Indiana, the blue collar wall. It's just such a you couldn't have planned a better rivalry than that. I think it's the greatest rivalry in the history of sports, and it saved the NBA.
The greatest rivalry of the '80s. With that, I don't know, man.
I mean, Yankees Red Sox, but
for Yankees Red Sox in the early from like '99 to 2006 was a war, and in the '70s. I mean, I didn't experience it, but there was wars. But yeah, I mean, to say two teams from like opposite conferences, that is.
You can't beat that, man.
Those two teams won 8 titles in the 1980s.
Yeah,
from 1980 to 1989. That's insane. I think the Lakers won it in 80, 82, 85, 87, 88. The Celtics won it in 1980, 82, and 86.
Yeah, Bird won 3 straight MVPs.
Yeah,
Larry Bird,
love him.
That dude, I think he's a little bit underrated by some people.
Very underrated. I mean, he's one of the best players ever.
That guy's career was cut short due to injury, but my God, was he incredible! Incredible, and of course, Magic. I mean, I wish I got to see that, man. That's the golden age of basketball. In my opinion.
That was good. The 80s were good sports in general.
Yeah,
it really was. It was good stuff. Eric, thank you so much, man. He says, when is the Lawrence Taylor statue and Eli statue coming? Giants don't really do stuff like that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously LT deserves a statue. I think a major reason why he doesn't have one is his off the field stuff, probably. Yeah. But obviously he's the greatest defensive player in the history of the NFL. But yeah, like you said, the Giants don't really do that. The Eagles do that. The Eagles build a statue of Nick Foles. We don't have any statues. They got a statue of Nick Foles, but
I heard I heard they're building a statue of a Pizza Hut outside of the freaking Nick Sirianni. Yeah, the Giants don't really do stuff like that. It's tough to like have your number retired there. Like they just don't do a lot of that. So I don't know. It's not really their thing, but I mean, if anybody was, those two guys could definitely have one, no question. Andy, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. He says, have you seen Pickens' catch from tonight's preseason game? From great touchdown catch of all time. I did not.
He's great. I wish the Giants drafted him. We took Wandell instead, but he's great. I'm going to tell you what. I know it's preseason, and I was not a fan of him. I'm still not a big fan of him. Kenny Pickett looks good. Kenny Pickett looks good, man. He's slinging the rock. Like, I think he's going to have a good year this year for the Steelers. He looks pretty good from what I've seen so far this preseason.
Unless his hands can get bigger, I don't know.
I don't think he's elite, but he looks good. I'm gonna give him credit where it's due. I'm not. He looks good right now from what I've seen. He's got a little zip on his throws. He's
got a good coach. I can tell you that. The Steelers don't mess around, man. They've been coached well. They've had 3 coaches in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's insane. Some of the most incredible stats are Steeler stats. They've had 7 losing seasons since the Super Bowl era. They've had 3 head coaches in like the last 40, 50 years. Like, it's incredible. They are the best run organization in the NFL by a wide margin, at least, over the last 40 or 50 years.
The Rooneys know what the hell they're doing. That family knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can pronounce this one. Marma Gazabazar. Hope I didn't botch it.
Give me a hell yeah.
Thank you so much. This Baddog and Tainah, 2 living legends. Keep up the great work, you guys. Super excited for the Isaiah Simmons trade and for the season. I want to be Dallas week 1 so bad. Let's get it, G-Man, baby. We're with you, buddy. Thank you.
I can't wait. I think we got a good shot, but I'm picking us. I think we're going to win, but it'll be tough. It's going to be a tough game. It'll come down to the line of scrimmage, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the line, because last year we know Daniel Jones was running for his life most of the game.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to tighten up that offensive line.
And on the other side, we have to get pressure on them because we did not last year,
right.
Which is our strength. So you have to figure we should be better in that area, right? With that area.
Your mic went out.
And you got to figure Kayvon's going to get better.
You're good now.
I'm good now, right? Yeah, you got to figure Kayvon's going to get better and everything else. So we'll see. But yeah, I think the key to that game, like most games, but especially that game, is the line of scrimmage. Big time.
Keep banging that like. We just crossed 600. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Imp. Thank you so much, buddy. Says so, except for the 6 best Giants, Jones, Barkley, Lawrence, Aziz, McKinney, and Andrew Thomas, Gettleman failed.
Are they the 6 best? I mean, they're definitely up there. I mean, to be fair, Imp, and I give credit to Gettleman for certain things. I think he deserves credit for some. He's a bad overall. It's hard for Gettleman not to have the 6 best Giants on this roster because Shane just got here last year. But Waller's got to be up there in terms of talent. He obviously hasn't played yet as a Giant. But hey, I said in my stream when you gave me a similar comment, Gettleman was a good scout, a very good scout. It's how he became a GM in the first place. It's how he got the job with the Panthers. It's how he got the GM job with the New York Giants. He was with the Giants initially. They knew he was a good scout. He was in the running to get the GM job ahead of Jerry Reese. They were neck and neck, if I recall. Reese ended up getting it. Thankfully, he did. He helped us win 2 Super Bowls. But Gettleman was a good scout, and I think he proved that he drafted pretty well. I'm not going to say he drafted great because he didn't have, an enormous amount of late hits. He had some. Love was a good pick.
Darius Toney.
Slayton was a good pick. Nick Gates was a good find for an undrafted free agent pickup. He had some finds. Gano was a really good free. Like, he had moves that were good. But the other things you need to be a good GM, he's horrible at. He
the cap.
Horrible with the cap. Horrible with free agency. Horrible with handling the media. He had an ego.
Trades.
Yeah, he had an ego through the roof, and he had no direction. Like, he couldn't decide how he wanted to build the team. And then the next year, he would come with a completely different vision. And I would try to understand it. I'd be like, okay, I'm buying into it a little bit. And then the last year, he just completely lost me because when it was a clear need to build the line, he just completely ignored it. But hey, if you're being fair, you got to give some credit where it's due. He was a bad GM. I'm happy he's gone, but I'm happy with some of the pieces he left Joe Schoen. I mean, at the end of the day, Joe Schoen inherited a franchise left tackle, a franchise pass rusher, what is starting to become a franchise quarterback. Azeez Ojulari, like you said, Xavier McKinney, like you said, he inherited Barkley. He inherited some pieces. Joe Schoen got left something that he could build with, and I'll give Gettleman credit for that. I'm glad he's gone. He was horrible overall, and Shane's done a great job of getting out of the mess he was provided with in terms of the cap situation from Gettleman, and he's used the good things that Gettleman provided him with, and he's building off of it. So that's what I'll say about Gettleman. It wasn't completely bad.
One thing I'll say, Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. No, that's what happens with old age. Is that's what happens there. I had something to say about Gettleman, and I totally lost. It must not have been that important, but yeah, man, I think Gettleman again. He was inconsistent. But I know what I was going to say. I think Chris and I were pretty patient.
Very patient.
And I'm not a patient guy, as you guys know.
By the way, Bookends hit on another really good pick by Gettleman, but he traded him because of how bad he did with building the offensive line. I often forget about the pick. The B.J. Hill pick was a very good pick by Gettleman, too, in the third round. Yeah. So Gettleman drafted well. You're lying if you say otherwise. When we got an opportunity to see how was all of his drafts, I'd give his draft at least a B- at worst, collectively over the fourth. But everything else, he was an F, bad dog. He was an F.
Yeah, he didn't do what. Look at you name 6 players that he did really well with, but how many players did he draft? How many players did he bring in here? Yeah. I mean, with those 6 guys in, but unfortunately, there's probably 3 guys you could name for each one of those that he failed with. Miserable. Yeah. Kenneth Galladay, DeAndre Baker.
Jonathan Stewart signing, trading for Alec Ogletree.
Right. Signing Nate Solder, for all that money. And just not addressing the O-line at all. Like, that was I'm going to fix the O-line. He never did it. He never did.
He tried, and he failed. Nate Solder, right. Will Hernandez, he failed.
Shane Lemieux, Matt Peart. Yeah. So he did some good. He did some bad. There's no question. But Chris and I are very patient. I mean, we went into year 4 saying, if he doesn't get it done this year, he's going to be going. After year 3, Chris and I said, I'm okay with him coming back.
He had a good year 3. He had a good year 3. He did. If you're being fair, he had a good year 3. He drafted Andrew Thomas. He drafted Xavier McKinney. The Bradbury signing was a good
that year too.
Bradbury was a good signing. Martinez was a good signing. He ended up backloading those because of how aggressive he was the following year in the pandemic, and it made those contracts bad. The Leonard Williams trade didn't look pretty good at that point. He had a good year 3. That was his best year, I think. That was his best year. And in retrospect, his 2019 draft was really good. DeAndre Baker pick aside. He hit on Slayton. He hit on Love. He hit on Jones. He hit on Dexter Lawrence. But just his overall, he didn't know how to build. He didn't know how to build a team. And now we have a guy that I believe does know how to do that.
Yep. ER. Thank you so much. Did you watch the Magic Word documentary? We were just talking about it. Best basketball doc. They say the NBA would kill this league if they played today. Well, like we were just talking about. I'm lucky enough. I was young, but I did see them play. And they're one of my favorite cards in my collection is the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson rookie from 1980 because they're both on the card. I'm a big fan of both of those guys. When people tell me to name my top 5 basketball players, never in particular order, but those guys are always. I want to put them in there. It's tough to pick, but like if I just have to name 5, they're always in there with Kobe, with Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Magic, Bird. That's usually how I do it, but because I got to see all those guys play. Like I didn't see Wilt Chamberlain play. I didn't see Bill Russell. I didn't see Jerry West. So it's hard for me to say, yeah, Wilt's the GOAT. Although I know Wilt one year averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds. It's just insane. And he slept with like 10,000 women or whatever he says. So good on him.
I'm trying to think of my top 5 guys in my lifetime because I didn't get to see that. I started with the Jordan era, which was obviously, even though they played together, he still played after them. So Jordan, obviously, 1. LeBron's probably 2 for me. Then you've got Duncan. Duncan's got to be in my top 5. Shaq's in my top 5. And maybe Karl Malone. Who am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting somebody. Who am I forgetting? Jordan. Oh, Kobe. Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Duncan, and Shaq. Those 5. Those in my lifetime. Yeah. A lot of other good players. Iverson was a great player. Carmelo.
Steph is a great player.
Yeah, but those are the top 5. I almost forgot about Kobe, of course. Kobe.
I forgot about this. Toasty. David Suchak. Chris, I was watching the Audrey Students of Baddog on the 24th. I was wondering why you used to hold a football and why you had a huge New York accent. I forgot because you're watching that. And they said to me, do you know why Chris held the football? I go, he told me, but I forgot why you used to hold it.
I don't remember why I held the football either. I have some pretty good rants that aren't on my channel anymore when I was holding the football and pounding it into my hand. I remember I flipped out on somebody that popped in my live stream when I was watching a football game. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember why I held the football. The New York accent, I say it all the time. I had no direction when I started on YouTube. I was playing a character.
Yeah. It was good though. Yeah, I was like, I'm like, oh, you.
Not
Yeah.
just New York guy, and then obviously I took my channel a lot more seriously. But
I tell people like I wore off on him. He picked up the upstate New York accent. But yeah, it's just funny. It is, but I could not remember. I'm like, he told me why he held that football, and I don't remember. But it was funny going back and watching. I'm like, he also used to have like a bowl of M&Ms or something on his table. I remember that too, the bowl of M&Ms or whatever. Way back in the day. It was good stuff, man. Clocks! You guys are wrong. Listen to both of you today. You keep saying KT for pick 100 is Waller. It's 100 and 209. Guess who's 209? Hawkins. How about that?
No, I'm aware. I didn't mention it, but yeah, I'm aware we ended up getting Hawkins with the other pick. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't care what Kadarius Toney does after he leaves the New York Giants. I don't care. I don't look at the trade that way. I look at the trade where it could work out to be a win-win for both teams, but I look at the trade as no matter what Kadarius Toney does with the Chiefs, it's a win for the Giants because the Giants view Toney, rightfully in my opinion, as a guy that was not going to be successful here. And they traded him, and they got as much as they possibly could before things went off the rails. Obviously, they didn't like what they saw in the kid. Think about it. First year, new head coach takes over, new general manager takes over. You're a second-year player who's done nothing. Nothing. You don't show up for voluntary OTAs in a new offense when you're trying to pick up a playbook. Of course, that's a big reason why they wanted to get rid of the guy. Yeah. They knew he wasn't going to be successful here because he's not smart, he's not tough, he's not dependable. That's what they're looking for in football players.
That's what Brandon Brown says all the time. Smart, tough, dependable.
And if he ends up being successful with the Chiefs, I tip my cap. Congratulations. You got to play with the greatest quarterback who ever lived and the greatest offensive coordinator who ever lived. And you somehow didn't
training camp.
Yeah, and you somehow didn't screw it up. So it could be a win-win trade, but I don't care if Toney makes 4 Pro Bowls. The Giants won that trade, in my opinion, because he was not going to do that here. So it was a great trade for the Giants, regardless of what Toney ends up doing. And yeah, to be able to get Waller and to be able to get, of course, Hawkins, how could you not be thrilled with that move?
The one thing I'll say, I totally forgot we got pick 209 from.
Yeah.
I just remember 100. I forgot that they even got 209. Yeah, that just goes to show you how great of a GM our guy is.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Slater. He says, "Hey, dog, I just want to let you know, Beast of the East passed away this morning in his sleep.
Jeez.
I think you might have watched him. Camel, now Beast. I don't know Beast of the East. Like, I don't know who that was. I think I saw that like on your community notes. But the thing with Bobby is still that. I mean, A. Camel Toe is the guy that I definitely knew, and that's still insane. I don't want to make this a somber stream, but one thing I was doing, and again, this was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. There's a lot of people like talking about being depressed, and I know there's a lot of people that suffer from depression. I was one of them. I suffered a lot of my young adult life. I suffered from seasonal affective disorder, and which is just being depressed in the winter. And there's a difference between depression and sadness. So next year, I mean, I know it's a year down the road, but that's what the charity or whatever is going to be next year is going to be, raising awareness for like mental illness. It's something that's just very overlooked, and it's not understood by a lot of people, but a lot of people suffer with depression. A lot of people do.
I think everybody does at some point. It's just different levels, but
it's difficult to deal with. But when I was talking to this person and just looking at the chat, I didn't realize that many people like dealt with it. And it is common, but
I knew Camel too, not that well, but I think I'd been on a stream with him, and he when I first started on YouTube, he was frequent in my streams. He always supported me. I didn't know him super well, but he always seemed like a nice guy. And yeah, I heard the news only because Pizzle made a video.
Yeah.
And then I just saw the title. I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy, man. It's crazy. You got that. It just goes to show you that you got to really appreciate every single minute of every single day that you have on this earth, because you never know. So yeah, it's sad, man. Whenever you hear about anybody passing away, it's sad. So yeah, horrible.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of people that I remember on YouTube passed away, and they're way younger. Another one of his friends took his own life. He was like 20 years old or 21 years old. That happened years ago, but again, it's not a joke. But a lot of guys on YouTube that I know passed away a lot younger than I am now, so it does make you think. And as I said before, my dad, when he passed away, he was here one night, next morning he was gone. You just don't know. So that's why, I try not to take the internet too seriously. The things in my everyday life are certainly important. YouTube is fun. It gives me an escape from the everyday hustle and bustle of working a job, paying your bills, going out and getting groceries and mowing the lawn and doing this and changing your oil and getting the blah, 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 blah. So this is fun for me because I love sports. But you never know, man. So I didn't want to get all somber and stuff. This is a Giants stream, baby. We're excited about Giants football, but that's what I'm going to do next year. Andy, you're the man. Thank you so much for the incredible generosity, brother. I really appreciate it.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
He says, how many touchdowns will you be happy with from Jones this season? Let's go Giants! I wanted to read it the way he wrote it.
Yeah, and yes, how many touchdowns? Enough for us to make the playoffs. That's it, man. I just want him to play well from within the game plan. Whatever gives us the best chance to win football games. I mean, obviously, I'm expecting more production because I think we're going to open up the offense. With that comes more production. But last year, I finished the season as a fan and as a guy who tries to, I guess, analyze the team, feeling that he maximized what he was provided with. Like, he did as well as I thought he could have, given the situation he was presented with, all the variables that I don't need to go over for the 100th time. I want to feel that way this year. I don't know what that number is going to be. I don't want to put a set number on it, but I want to leave the season feeling, yeah, Jones did everything in his power to give this team the best chance to win every Sunday. Because last year, for the most part, that's the way I felt. So that's what I want to feel this year. And with that, yeah, I expect higher numbers because I just think the team around him is better. But I don't want to put like a set number because I don't know what their offensive strategy is going to be week to week. At the end of the day, the strength of this team is still predicated on the run. It is. I mean, their best weapon is still Barkley, and Jones's legs are a weapon. So I don't think they're going to go out there and suddenly become the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're going to be a team that's balanced, but they take more shots than they did last year. I think you'll see more big plays. With that will come more touchdowns. But that's the way I want to feel at the end of the year, whether it's 22 passing touchdowns, whether it's 35. I want to end the year feeling Jones maximized what he was provided with.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I talk about it all the time. Stats tell half the story. People that want to knock Daniel Jones say only threw 15 passing touchdowns, but he led us to 5 game-winning touchdown drives. He destroyed Minnesota in the postseason. I mean, he obviously got a lot better. His numbers may not have reflected that. Again, everybody wants to just overlook the 700 yards and rushing and 7 touchdowns that he had. For some reason, that doesn't count with him. It counts for every other scrambling quarterback, but not DJ. Again, I'm with Chris. I don't know if there's like a set number that's going to make me happy. What's going to make me happy, Andy, is if he can find a way to beat Dallas and Philadelphia. Like,
yeah, that's premium. If you told me Jones is going to have 21 touchdowns and he's going to beat the Eagles and Cowboys, going to make the playoffs, or Jones is going to have 33 touchdowns and we're going to go 2-4 in the division and we're going to win 7 or 8 games. Yeah. Give me the 21-22 touchdown, the guy that plays efficient and the guy that gives us the best chance to win and plays better within the division. So I agree, not just for Jones, the team in general. The way that I'm going to measure how much we grew as a team this year is how we, like we've said, how they play from within the division this year.
But to Chris's point, also, I think that you're going to see bigger chunk plays. You're going to see more shots downfield, which in turn is probably going to result in more interceptions. I mean, he only threw 5 interceptions last year. If he's throwing the ball more and taking more shots deep, he might throw 8 or 9 or 10, but he might also throw 30 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's not even 2 a game. If he threw 2 a game, he'd have 34 touchdowns. So, certainly not out of the realm of possibility, but as Joe Schoen has said, or not Joe Schoen, I'm sorry, as Brian Dable has said, it's going to depend on a week-to-week basis. Yeah. Chris mentioned some days we may suit up 7 wide receivers. Some days we may suit up 6. Might have, 3 tight ends or 4 tight ends and 3 running backs, depending on who we're playing. Like you mentioned with Dallas, because we need to beef up our offensive line, we're probably going to have 3 tight ends. Might only suit up 6 wide receivers that night. So I think it depends a lot on the game. the situation, but I do believe that he'll have better numbers than he did last year. But I want him to beat Dallas and Philadelphia. I think that makes it a very successful season. That's what's going to make me happy.
Yeah, and if I'm just judging him as a player, because a quarterback can only do so much. If we're outmanned as much as we were, like last year, I say it all the time. People just look at the box score. I honestly believe this. Daniel Jones' best game last year, this includes the Vikings playoff game, was the first game against Dallas last year. Mm-hmm. He only threw for like 200 yards. I don't think he might have threw one touchdown, but when you watch the game, Daniel Jones, I'm telling you right now, we should have lost that game by 25 points. Daniel Jones was pressured 25 times on 27 dropbacks. He was the only reason we were even remotely close in that game. So I'm going to analyze. We may not even beat the Eagles, but how does he play? Does he do as much as he can as an individual in those games? I don't want to put a set stat on it. I really don't, because there's empty stats. If you just look at stats, Baddog, Gardner Minshew is a really good quarterback. His first 2 years in the league, Gardner Minshew had really good stats. What did it mean?
He had a big game in Dallas, and they lost.
They're empty stats.
But you know what? Empty stats, Chris. We talk about all the time. People play so much fantasy football. Gardner Minshew helped me win, become champion, because we played him that week. That was to get into the postseason. We dominated because Gardner Minshew had like 334 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Again,
all that being said, though, Baddog, I think he's going to have a very good statistical year.
Jones, yes.
Yeah, but it's not about stats for me. It's about the feeling I get in terms of how he plays from within the games and what he does from within the games to be able to get the most out of what he could possibly get. And I think if you're being honest with yourself last year, Baddog, I don't know if you're being fair and not a hater of Daniel Jones. I don't know how you left last season feeling that he didn't maximize what he was provided with.
I agree.
I mean, my God, name a quarterback last year that made the playoffs with less talent around him than Daniel Jones.
A quarterback that had a winning record with less talent around him.
So I don't know. Like that's the feeling I got last year. If he throws 22 touchdowns, I don't know how I'm going to feel. I may feel better about him if he throws 22 than 31. If they're empty stats with the 31 and we're playing from behind and he's putting up meaningless stats. If he's playing in close games and coming up with big third down conversions like he did numerous times last year and game-winning drives and putting us in the best position to succeed, I may think he had a great year. So I can't base everything off of stats. You can't. There's a lot of
story, man.
Yeah.
Said it for years. For years. Imp! Thank you so much. Says, well, I agree about the rest, but bad one. Let's get rid of Brian Gettleman Jr. Yeah, I think he's talking about. I think he's talking about Brian Cashman.
Yeah.
Imp, I'm with you. Brian Cashman, just dude. And you look at Ben Ruta, who was in the Yankees minor league system, and he says they don't teach you how to play baseball down there. That tells you all you need to know, and it's pretty obvious. Chris, I don't know if you saw this, but the Yankee philosophy is they just want everybody to swing the same. It does not matter their skill set, does not matter their approach. They look at exit velo. So they want a guy like IKF to hit 103 miles an hour. Like they try to have everybody in the minor leagues hitting the exit, 103. It doesn't matter if they strike out 250 times, as long as when they hit the ball, it's hard. Yeah. That's not the way you teach baseball. And it's obvious because the Yankees haven't developed a prospect that's been good for, more than 2 years in the last 10 years outside of Aaron Judge, who did have a big game last night, by the way, 3 home runs.
I mean, he's one of the best.
He is.
But the Yankees, I agree with you. The Yankees have been, for too long, they've become a franchise, and it's not just them, it's the majority of baseball. But they've become, for too long, they've become a franchise that goes strictly by the analytic approach. Strictly by
their analytical department's bad. That's the problem.
You need a balance of both, though. You need guys. I think a lot of teams forget it, and I will say I do think baseball is getting back to that with the new rules, with the the larger bases, like speed's becoming more important than it was. Yeah. So I think it is going to get back to that. But balance in a lineup is important. Having guys that can make productive outs, having guys that can move the runners along. Well, I obviously I don't completely disagree with the analytical approach. I do think it's important, but I think the Yankees and most teams around the league they've gotten way too analytical. Like I think you need a happy medium of both, and the Yankees have just become that cookie cutter lineup where it's station-to-station baseball. It's all or nothing. It's home run or strikeout. There's no productive outs. That's the way they've been for the last, 15 years?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I agree with you from that standpoint. We've said that for years on this channel when people bring it up. They're too station-to-station. It's boring baseball. It really is.
The other thing with the Yankees, it's all right-handed batters.
Yeah.
You play in Yankee Stadium. It was built for Babe Ruth. It's built for left-handed power. We have all right-handers. And then they were talking about getting Tommy Pham to trade it. There's another right-handed hitter. Like, it baffles me. I don't know. They freaking suck. Toasty, as much as anyone who can't shoot don't belong near the top 5.
We're talking about basketball?
Yeah.
I mean, no, Shaq's got to be in my opinion. I don't care. I know it's a different game now, and Shaq may not be the same player in this era that he was, because he clearly couldn't step out and shoot it like a guy like Embiid or Jokic. But it don't matter. You can't compare, in my opinion at least. The only way you could judge a player is based off the era he played in. And the era, I'm going to tell you this right now. In the era that Shaquille O'Neal played in, it was short-lived because the guy didn't keep himself in shape. Outside of Michael Jordan, I have never. This includes Kobe Bryant. This includes all those guys I mentioned, Tim Duncan, even LeBron James. For a 3 or 4 year period, I have never seen a player more dominant than Shaquille O'Neal outside of Michael Jordan. That's how good he was. I don't care if he wouldn't be the same player in today's era. Shaquille O'Neal was on another level, bad dog. He was incredible during a 3 or 4 year stretch during his prime.
He was. He definitely was. There's no question about that. No question. Mike! Thanks so much, brother. He says, Joe Schoen is allergic to taking L's. Let's go, baby.
A++++. You've been incredible this year.
Another dub for Shane. Here's Kobe Dub. Thank you for the super chat. Watching it with you guys, like watching with friends. Appreciate that. We feel the same way.
Always have a lot of fun, man. Always have a lot of fun. Come on in here talking sports with you guys. We love it. We love it. Thank you for being here.
That's why I said we watch it with 4,000 of our closest friends. I think it's awesome, man. Chris, thank you so much, buddy. He says, with Isaiah Simmons' ability to play the edge, do you think Wink can use him in a NASCAR package? Use him in a lot of different ways, which is why I love. Wink went home. Wink found out about the trade. Wink immediately went home and started drawing up plays for the defense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Wink's having a field day right now, dreaming up what he's going to be able to do.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, listen, I don't think he's going to be a quote-unquote pass rusher, but I think he's a guy that is going to be able to generate pressure, especially up the middle, which is what Wink wants. That's why we drafted Micah McFadden, because we thought he excelled in that area. So, yeah, I think we're going to be able to generate pressure. It's going to be a different kind of pressure than the type of pressure that we generated with the NASCAR package, because back then, the Giants – I often say this, Baddog, I think the league evolved due in large part. I don't think it gets talked about enough. Offenses around the NFL, I think, evolved due in large part to that New York Giants defense in 2007.
Yeah,
because the Giants defense in 2007 had that incredible front four. The NASCAR package was the second team, right?
Right, yeah.
But they had that incredible front four, and the Patriots saw that, and they saw that the Giants won the Super Bowl basically on the back of that defensive line, and the league changed in large part because of that. You saw teams start to get the ball out much quicker. Offenses adjusted to that. And, so this is a different type of pressure than that. That was just a dominant defensive line. And offenses, like I said, they evolved, and they said, all right, we got to get the ball out quick. I think a lot of that had to do with that Giants defensive line. I don't think they get credit enough. But, I wouldn't compare it to that, because I just think it's a different way of generating pressure. This is more scheme dependent and deception. But, yeah, I think we're going to have a good pass rush. I think we're going to have 50 team sacks this year. I really do.
Yeah, the NASCAR package was what? That was when they would put five defensive ends.
Yeah, that was when they had OC and Tuck and
JPP.
Iwanuka, JPP. Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what they saw. That was what they saw. David, my man, thank you for the super chat. I was hoping I would get to use this drop tonight. Yeah, little Karate Kid. Sound whacked off. Thank you, David. He says, Shane kind of hinted at this trade a week ago when he mentioned about how far down the waiver wire was. He did mention that.
Yeah.
That the waiver wire is much different. And Brandon Brown mentioned as well. if Simmons got waived in the way he gets to the Giants, facts. So this is why he's such a brilliant GM. And Chris mentioned that at the beginning of the stream, but this is why he's such a smart GM. And like I said, and when we talked to Patty last year, Joe Judge, I believe they had a plan A and a plan B. And once plan B faltered, they had no other plan. These guys have a plan C, D, E, F, G, H. Like, they're going all the way down. And again, when I reacted to Brandon Brown's press conference, I was just like amazed. I mean, I know they do a lot of work, but to listen to him like talk about exactly what they go through and how they develop these players and all the channels that this runs through, all the coaches, all the opinions, the traveling, everything that they do to find out who goes in his team just tells you they're a very, very smart front office, and it's beautiful. Why does Cashman not get the same love as Shane? Well, because Cashman sucks and Shane doesn't. Cashman gets credit for 2009. I gave him that. He went out and spent $500 million on Sabathia, Shara Burnett. Already had a really solid team there. You still have the core four guys. Hideki Matsui is his. Kano is his. I mean, I give him credit for 09. The 90s was built by Gene Michael and Bob Watson. Cashman gets no credit for that, in my opinion. That was already there. So, but
I've never been a big Cashman guy. I'm not saying he's bad. He's definitely not bad.
He's now.
Yeah, I'm saying, the totality of his career. But I've never thought he was an elite general manager. I know the Yankees, of course, had those great teams in the late 90s, early 2000s. But they always had the unfair advantage of money. And people will say, well, they built the majority of their team with the farm guys. Okay.
They could keep them.
They were able to retain those guys because of the money that the Mets had great farm guys. They couldn't keep them because they were cheap. They didn't have the money. So right. I've never been a big Cashman guy. I've always thought he was a bit overrated. And here's the biggest argument against Cashman. Outside of Aaron Judge, in the last 15 years.
Yeah, nothing.
How many great players that came up for the farms were New York Yankees?
They're not even great. They don't even last more than 2 years. Like, they get 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the best of them. Sanchez, 2 good years, done. Severino, 2 good years, done. Greg Bird, Yankee fans, remember Greg Bird? Ass.
Yeah.
The names going on. Mason Williams was supposed to be this otherworldly prospect. Nothing. Esteban Florial, he's still buried in the minor leagues. This goes way back in the day, man. Well, I mean, Ricky LeDay was his. Ricky LeDay was supposed to be no good. The Yankees prospects have been freaking horrendous for years. What about Clark Schmidt? I mean, he's decent, but Davey Garcia was supposed to be this otherworldly starter. He's no good. We hear all this. Anthony Volpe. Now, I'm not killing Anthony Volpe. He's a rookie. But we've heard about Volpe. He struggled. Hear about Peraza. He's up, down, up, down. Hear about Cabrera. Up, down, up, down. I'll see what Pereira does. But we hear about all these prospects, and I've always said the Yankees, I don't want to make this into a baseball thing, but the Yankees hype up their prospects like no other team because they want to trade them and get the best. And that's what they do. That's what it is. Yeah. Cashman is a smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it anyway. DB!
I agree with you. I think they should fire.
He says they just keep being Wink players for a scheme. Let's go. And Wink likes to eat. He's a big boy. So he's like, keep eating. We're almost at 700 likes too, which is pretty kick-ass. We're going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, but really appreciate you guys being here, man. This is it's been fun. It always is, but
I can't wait, man. We're 2 weeks away, man. 2 weeks away.
I'm just so pumped up at what the Giants have done. It's insane. This offseason has been so good between the draft, the way they got the players, the way they let JMS fall, then I'm in the second round. They jump up to get Hyatt. Deonte Banks is the guy we pretty much wanted. He was the best one that we knew we were going to get Witherspoon.
Yeah.
And we end up with him. So far, Riley and Hawkins look amazing. He gets those contracts settled. He trades a 7th-round pick for Isaiah Simmons. He brings in Darren Waller. He brings in Paris Campbell. He adds Ashawn and Nacho.
Bring back Slayton for a cheap deal. Like the Jones contract, I think is going to work out well. Extends Thomas before he hits the market. Dexter, come on. Yeah. How can you not be thrilled with the direction of this football team right now?
Yeah, it is amazing. Our guy, Tuto. What's up, buddy? Long time no see, Tuto. I should say Toot. There you go. He says, Massive salutes to the big boss dog, Tainah, and all dire Giants fans in America. And please slap all the stinky boys losers out of the door. The front door. I don't care which door. Window. Tuto don't care. Throw him out the door, the window, the roof.
Don't matter.
Tuto hates. If there's anybody that hates the Eagles more than me, if it's humanly possible, it's him.
Yeah. Love Tuto. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, I'm excited. We got one more preseason game to go. If you just want to get out of there, no major injuries, get ready for Sunday night, September 10th against Dallas. And it's always amazing me, Chris. I mean, I don't know how you feel. I swear to God, like the first game of the year is always like surreal to me, especially when they're on like Sunday night or Monday night. It's always like surreal. It's like I'm watching it, but like it either goes, it's almost like it's not real. Like the season started and it is what it is. It's weird. Like the first game always just seems like a surreal moment to me. And then I start like, okay, football's here. It's just weird because you have such a long off season. You go through the draft, you go through the OTAs, you go through the mini camps, the rookie camps, training camp, the exhibition games. You go through a lot of processes. And then football, all of a sudden, it's here. And it's like, it's finally here.
Yeah, and I think that first night you get, especially this year, man, obviously you wake up, it's like Christmas morning. But as the game gets closer, you get really nervous because you're like, that's when you really find out is this team what you thought it was going to be. And obviously football's a long season and things change over the course of the year, but we'll have a good feel, because I remember when I first started doing YouTube, my first year, first play, I knew we weren't doing anything in 2019. Eric Flowers on that first drive, I'm like, we're dead. This year's over. Scrap it. You have an immobile quarterback and you have a left tackle that can't block to save his life. Yep. We're dead. He was a traffic cone out there. You went into the year with hope. You're like, we got Saquon, Odell Beckham. I'm like, oh my God. And then that first drive, we're dead. So I get nervous because you're like, is Evan Neal going to improve? And you can't get that feel until you see what he does against Tank Lawrence, because we saw what Tank Lawrence did to him last year. And that's where I think, that's why you get a little nervous going in, because your questions start to get answered. We'll have a good feel by halftime what Evan Neal's going to look like this year.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to be better than he was last year against Dallas. That is a fact. No question. Chris! Thank you so much, buddy. He says, not defending Cashman, but Della Matanza was a good prospect before 2019.
Yeah, I'm not saying he didn't have any good – he had some good prospects, but
– good prospects, but for the amount of resources and the money the Yankees have, he should not miss on as many as he does. The other was Jabba Chamberlain. Jabba Chamberlain was supposed to be otherworldly, and he was great in 2000.
They completely screwed him up in the head.
The Yankees, that's the problem, is they don't know how to develop players. They're very, very piss poor when it comes to developing players, especially pitchers. I can tell you, man, in my lifetime, I can think of 2 starters. So you're going back into the 70s.
Hold on, let me guess. Hold on. 2 starters that they brought that were really good. Andy Pettitte.
Yep.
Who's the second one? Let me think. Well, they didn't bring up Cohen. The Mets did. Jimmy Key was not originally a Yankee. Who am I forgetting? It might be going back to the 70s because I don't think that. Yeah, so you tell me. I don't know. Who's the other one?
Ron Guidry was the other one.
Ron Guidry, of course.
So Guidry and Pettitte. And Mariano was a failed starter that became the GOAT. But other than that, like Phil Hughes, remember Paul Wilson, Bill Pulsifer, Jason Isringhausen for the Mets?
Oh, the Generation K.
Yeah, the Yankees had their guys. It was Jabba Chamberlain, Ian Kennedy, and Phil Hughes. And they all sucked.
And they had, what was the name of the Asian pitcher they had that was good for a few years?
Shit.
He was a contact pitcher.
Chin-Ming Wang.
Chin-Ming Wang. Yeah.
Chin-Ming Wang was good. Yes. Actually, that's a good one. Chin-Ming Wang was good until he broke his ankle running the bases. So he was a good one.
The Mets and Yankees are complete opposites because the Mets have developed so many good pitchers, but they've developed, they never have the lineup. But and the other thing is it never lasts. Like Baddog in 2015, when I, as a Mets fan, and I know this went into a baseball thing, but it is what it is. It's preseason. As a Mets fan, when I saw that rotation start to develop, I'm like, we're the next Atlanta Braves. We're going to be Maddox. We're going to be Smoltz. We're going to be Glavine. I got Harvey looking the way he looks. I got DeGrom now. I got friggin' Noah Syndergaard. I got Steven Matz, Zach Wheeler, all 5 of those guys coming up at the same time. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to be the Atlanta Braves. We're going to be the most dominant pitching staff for the next 15 years. A year later, boom, up in smoke, done. All of them. You can make an argument that DeGrom's the most successful, but Wheeler was the second most successful as a New York Met because Harvey fell apart. Syndergaard. It was a disaster. That's just the Mets way. It's just the Mets way. It just is. The Mets will Met.
The Mets will Met. And that's what I'm saying. Everybody's high on the Jets, and they look good on paper, but inevitably the Jets will jet. It's just what they do.
Yeah.
It's what they do, man. I don't know. It's insane. Toasty. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. He says Chance Adams was supposed to. I forgot all about Chance Adams. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on of failed prospects for the Yankees. It just does. That's why they barely ever develop prospects. I mean, Gleyber Torres wasn't even theirs. They got him and the Aroldis Chapman trade.
Yeah.
And, then they ended up getting Chapman back, but he wasn't theirs. So, I don't know, man.
You know the one image I could never get out of my head with Jabba Chamberlain? It's the
bugs?
game in the playoffs against the Indians.
Bugs?
With the bugs all over him. Oh, I was like, how the hell is he pitching through that?
Joe Torre should have taken a timeout. Joe Torre always says the worst thing he did because the Yankees they won game 1, and they ended up losing that game because of those damn bugs. Jabba really hadn't given up a run like all year, and he gave up he threw 3 wild pitches or something. There's something crazy in that game. But, yeah, that was kind of the Yankees started to kind of fall off at that point. And they run in 09, but they just don't know how to develop players, man. Gene Michael, they knew how to develop these guys. They knew how to draft. They knew a lot of things. And this organization just doesn't. Again, this is it's dated. The way they prospect, the way they develop, it's dated. Like the Giants were, now we're not. So now we don't have.
We actually have a fresh mind in there. We know what we're doing now.
Toot! Thank you so much, Baddog. I have officially been activated as of this morning. Bad news for the rest of the Super Rugby League. Chills running down the spines all over all lines. Kick their ass. Look at that shirt. I need that one. I need that one, man. Yeah, you know what? That is what our GM is.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Big time.
That is.
And Dable.
Yeah, I love it, man. That's Aaron Boone always screams about how the Yankees have savages in the box. Yeah, I think we got savages on the sidelines and the front office.
Aaron Boone, I can't stand that guy either, but we don't need to talk about him.
Yeah, we don't need to. That's a whole other show. Trust me. Aaron Boone. He's not going to be there next year. He's going to be.
No. He's gonna be the fall guy, like Coughlin was for the Giants. He was the fall guy, but they should have cleaned house, and looks like the Yankees won't do that.
And listen, Pat Shermer was the fall guy, and they kept Gettleman, and it didn't work. And then they said, "All right, we're ripping this.
Yeah.
We're ripping this off, starting over." Bang.
No.
Yankees need to do the same thing, but Hal Steinbrenner's a wuss, and that probably won't happen. That's just a fact. But listen, guys, it's after 11 o'clock. I know Chris and I got to work in the morning. Really appreciate you guys and girls coming through. We had almost 1,000 people in here at one time tonight. 700 likes, which is absolutely kick-ass. But if you haven't hit that thumbs up, hit that thumbs up because it does help out. Isaiah Simmons is a giant. Joe Schoen continues his masterclass as a GM. Just one of the best off seasons in recent memory that I can think of the New York Giants. And hopefully it translates to the field. 2 weeks from Sunday, we have a gigantic game. And, Chris and I will be here for you. Hopefully you guys and girls will be here too. And let's beat Dallas's ass. I can't wait.
Yeah, again, thank you guys, man. All the support. I mean, I think I had around the same, maybe a little, I don't even remember. I had a lot of people in my stream earlier today. Thank you guys for all the support you guys showed. Thank you for coming over here. I can't wait, man. I woke up today, really starting, and before the Simmons move, I woke up today really getting excited about football because I said to myself, oh my God, we're 2 weeks away. Like this is it's happening. It's happening. And then the Simmons thing just made me ready to run through a wall. So I'm really excited, man. Preseason game Saturday. Temper your expectations. I don't expect a lot of starters, but regardless, it's going to be fun to watch. Get to see the rookies continue to hopefully develop. I'm looking forward to calling that game. And it'll be interesting to analyze maybe some of the back end guys like a Corbin, for example. I think he's a guy that's really competing to probably get that fourth running back spot. So he could use a big game this week. Looking forward to see how we do against Aaron Rodgers. Most important thing, get out of that game healthy and get ready to take on the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're
Yeah,
2 weeks out.
they only have one cut down day this year.
Yeah, and it's Tuesday,
So-
so it's here.
That's what I'm saying. So this game is going to determine the
Yeah.
guys that are there and the guys that aren't.
Yeah, I said I'm going to do my roster prediction video after the third preseason game. I got 2 days to do it because it's right there, right after the third preseason game. But regardless, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where the conversations take us this year. There's going to be a lot to talk about. It's going to be a fun team. And things are only trending up, man, because we've got the best tag team in the sport. That's Brian Dable and Joe Schoen. When you got a GM and head coach, you win in this league. So I'm excited. And let's take down Dallas week 1. Had a lot of fun, Bad Dog. We'll do it again next week.
Yes, we will. So damn straight. We're going to whoop some ass this year. You ready for our Giants fans? Let's go, baby. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thank you so much for all your support for the Entertainer Talking Sports. It's your guy, the Bad Digger Dizzle, and we out.